Chapter 1285. Li Chuang said hurriedly, "Father, you can't be partial. Eldest brother and eldest sister-in-law's family have benefited a lot over the years. You can't let them benefit even if we split up now, right? Otherwise, our second branch can't live on." Feng Xianxia didn't want to be left behind. She said in front of Zhao Baoshan, "Father, second brother did something sneaky. You can't give the second branch too much. Although our first branch has spent a lot of money, it's for the honor of old Zhao's family, not for anything else. Although Sky Dragon studies cost a little more, but when he passes the imperial examinations, he will be able to bring honor to his ancestors." "Shut up. I know how to distribute it. Do I need you to tell me?" Zhao Baoshan reprimanded. Feng Xianxia and Li Chuang didn't know what to say, so they shut up. Zhao Baoshan thought for a while. What the first branch and the second branch said was reasonable. Therefore, when it came to splitting up, the two branches should give about the same amount. The fourth branch was the most important. The fourth branch could get more. Zhao Baoshan counted the fields in the house. The fields that each branch got were about the same. Zhao Baoshan and Hua Chunhua kept some fields for themselves. As for money, the fourth branch got more, so the first branch and the second branch got the same amount. Although the first branch and the second branch had different opinions about the distribution, they agreed in the end for the sake of splitting up. It didn't matter how much they got now. The most important thing was to divide up the family. Hua Chunhua was the one who was most dissatisfied with the separation. If the whole family was together, the amount of money they earned would have to be handed over to her. Now that they were splitting up, the money in the other branch's hands would be in their own hands. They wouldn't give it to her. Thinking of this, Hua Chunhua felt sad. "Old man, can't we not split up? Why do we have to split up?" "Really?" Hua Chunhua said to Zhao Baoshan. She was unhappy. "Then what do you think we should do? How should he deal with today's matter? If people's hearts are not together, it's useless to force them to be together." "That's not it either. I think that if we split up, old Zhao's life will be even more difficult. We still don't know if these children are filial or not. If they aren't filial, no one will take care of us when we're old." Hua Chunhua curled her lips and muttered to Zhao Baoshan. Zhao Baoshan glared at Hua Chunhua. "You think too much. We'll talk about the future when the time comes. They can do whatever they want. Let them be." Hua Chunhua saw that Zhao Baoshan was unhappy. It seemed that she did not want to dwell on this topic, so she quickly shut her mouth. Otherwise, Zhao Benshan would scold her. After struggling for half a night, the separation of old Zhao's family was finally settled. The other branches were satisfied with this result. Although the fourth branch did not say that they wanted to split up, they still had this thought in their hearts. After all, the fourth branch was at a disadvantage in old Zhao's family. They did more work than the other branches, so they didn't get many benefits. After the separation, everyone found that Zhao Wenshui, whose ankle was pinched, had fainted from the pain. Li Chuang rushed to Zhao Wenshui and said to Zhao Wenshui, "Tianyu's father, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Why aren't you talking?" Chapter 1286. Li Chuang's heart tightened, and she hurriedly said, "Father, it might be true. Tianyu's father must have fainted from the pain. What should we do? Nothing must happen to Tianyu's father." Zhao Baoshan's brows were still furrowed. "He deserves it even if he dies from the pain. Who told him to come to the kitchen in the middle of the night to steal things? The rat trap was placed there on purpose to catch the thief." Li Chuang looked at Zhao Baoshan with hidden bitterness. "Father, you can't say that. Tianyu's father shouldn't have eaten our family's food. Tianyu's father's leg is more important. Otherwise, it would be bad if he became a cripple in the future." Zhao Baoshan snorted softly and instructed Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wentao, "Send second brother to the second branch's room first. We'll find a doctor to take a look at him tomorrow." Li Chuang's heart ached at the thought of having to spend money to find a doctor. Now that they had separated from the family, they could not spend old Zhao's money. They could only spend the second branch's money. This time, Zhao Wenshui's medical expenses would probably be at least half of it. Fortunately, Zhao Jing was about to get married. When the time came, they could make up for the dowry money. Otherwise, they would not be able to live on. The third branch, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke up. Liang Jinxiao walked up to Huachunhua and said to her, "Mother, now that the matter has been clarified, it's fine. Our third branch won't steal anything. In the future, don't blame us for anything. Otherwise, if we don't find evidence, we won't be able to clear our name." Huachunhua was a little embarrassed, but she could not admit her mistake. She could only force a smile and say, "Who knew that second brother would never change and would steal things from his family again? Otherwise, he wouldn't have blamed the third branch." "Mother, I don't mean anything else. I just hope that if anything happens in the future, we'll figure it out first. Otherwise, it'll be easy for us to take the blame for others. It's the same for everyone." Huachunhua replied impatiently, I know. Third daughter-in-law, you should go back to your room and rest. What's the point of saying so much?" "Well, Mother, then I'll go back to my room to rest first." Liang Jinxiao was also too lazy to say more and walked into the room of the third branch. Huachunhua had already made herself clear. It was fine as long as she understood it in her heart. Thinking about what happened tonight, Liang Jinxiao could not help but admire Zhao Yun. If it weren't for Zhao Yun, she probably wouldn't have caught Zhao Wenshui stealing tonight. She would probably still be suspected. However, what they didn't expect was that old Zhao's family would split up. Just thinking about it made him feel a little incredulous. Both Zhao Baoshan and Huachunhua had reacted strongly to the idea of splitting the family assets on the premise that they would never agree to it. How could they agree to it so easily and so easily? She wondered if it was because the third branch had already been separated from the main branch. The next day, Liang Jinxiao told Zhao Yun about what happened that night. Zhao Yun was also a little shocked. If they were talking about splitting up, it was good that they did it. The fourth branch couldn't take advantage of living together with the first and second branches. Her fifth uncle, Zhao Wenxing, spoke too early. He said that they wouldn't get anything if they split up. This time, old Zhao's family really didn't give the fifth branch anything. Otherwise, the fifth branch could also get a lot of things. When Zhao Yun arrived at old Zhao's house, the people of old Zhao's family were moving things. After distributing the things, they moved back to their rooms. Chapter 1287. When Zhao Yun saw this, she stepped forward and asked, "Fourth uncle, do you want me to help you?" "No need." Zhao Wentao smiled and refused. "Actually, there's nothing else to do. It's almost done. The things that should be moved have already been moved. There's nothing else to move. It's just some small things that are easy to carry." Zhao Yun didn't know if Zhao Wentao was declining or if he really meant it. Zhao Yun was too embarrassed to insist, so she could only say, "All right then, fourth uncle. If you're tired, you can rest for a while. Don't tire yourself out." Seeing that Zhao Yun was concerned about him, he felt touched. "Got it? Don't worry. Fourth uncle knows whether he's tired or not." That's fine." Zhao Yun nodded. At this time, Li Chuang, who was moving things in the courtyard, heard the conversation between Zhao Yun and Zhao Wentao. She hurriedly said to Zhao Yun, "Girl Yun, if you're so filial, then help your second aunt move some things. Your second uncle's foot was injured by a mouse trap. He can't even walk now. How can your second aunt move so many things by herself?" Zhao Yun laughed coldly and stared at Li Chuang. She didn't know how Li Chuang had the nerve to say such a thing. "Second aunt, why do you want me to help? It's not like there's no one in your house. What can't you move? You and cousin Jing can work together and take it slow. If you can't move it in one go, then you can do it a few more times." After Zhao Yun finished speaking, Li Chuang's expression instantly became very ugly. This wretched girl only cared about the fourth branch and didn't like the second branch. Speaking of which, weren't they all this girl's elders? Why should she treat them differently? She was too much. Li Chuang said sarcastically, "What a stingy person. I've never seen such a person before. Wretched girl, you're so picky. It seems like you don't care about your second uncle and second aunt." Seeing that Li Chuang was about to make a scene, Zhao Wentao was afraid that Li Chuang and Zhao Yun would argue, so he said to Li Chuang, "Second sister-in-law, don't let Yun help you. It's fine. If there's anything you can't move, Call me and I'll help you move it. Li Chuanying's expression returned to normal. She smiled at Zhao Wentao and said, Hee hee, fourth brother, you are still the best. It's my duty, second sister-in-law. Second brother's foot is injured, so there's no other way. He'll probably be busy at home these days, so please bear with him as much as you can. There's no need to be so calculative. Hearing Zhao Wentao's words, Li Chuanying chuckled and replied, Yes, yes, yes. Fourth brother, your words are so nice. It would be great if everyone in our family could be like you. Zhao Yun stood to the side. Seeing Li Chuanying, she couldn't help but roll her eyes. Her fourth uncle was really a good person. However, Zhao Wentao treated all his brothers like this. Zhao Yun didn't have much to say. She only hoped that Zhao Wentao would be more considerate sometimes. Otherwise, if he was too nice, he would be bullied. Li Chuanying stared at Zhao Wentao and thought for a while. Then he said to Zhao Wentao, Fourth brother, now that our family is separated, the other branches don't have a kitchen. We have to build a shed for our own kitchen. If you have nothing to do, when you build a wooden shed for your own family, you can build one for my family. Chapter 1288. Since Li Chuanying had already spoken, Zhao Wentao couldn't say no. It was true that his second brother's leg was injured and it was inconvenient for him. Every man in the second branch had to rely on 2 women and 1 child. What could they do? Just as Zhao Wentao was about to nod and agree, Zhao Yun couldn't help but say, Second aunt, you really choose honest people when you want to take advantage of others. It's already good enough that fifth uncle helped you move things, but you still want him to help you build a shed. How can you ask for that? After Zhao Yun finished speaking, Li Chuanying glared at Zhao Yun with a reddened face and said, Last Yun, your mouth is really cheap. Your fourth uncle didn't say anything. What did you say? Zhao Yun pursed her lips and said, I just can't stand it. Fourth uncle is an honest person. He can't be bullied too much by you. After Zhao Yun finished speaking, she winked at Zhao Wentao. Originally, Zhao Wentao was embarrassed to refuse. However, after hearing Zhao Yun's words, Zhao Wentao said to Li Chuanying, Second sister-in-law, why don't you and mother use the same kitchen first? When second brother's leg recovers, we can ask him to build a wooden shed. Li Chuanying was immediately unhappy. She frowned and said with difficulty, This? Fourth brother, you know that your second brother can't do it? Why can't he do it? Your second brother is clumsy. How can he do it well? I don't think he can build a wooden shed. Second sister-in-law, it's okay if he can't build it. When the time comes, if second brother has any problems, just ask me. I will tell second brother. If he can't do it, I will help second brother and follow behind to help. He will definitely be able to do it. After hearing Zhao Wentao's words, Li Chuanying was too embarrassed to say anything more. She could only say, Okay then, fourth brother. You said it. When we build a wooden shed, you have to help. Don't worry, second sister-in-law. I definitely will. Okay. Li Chuanying agreed reluctantly. Before she left, she glared fiercely at Zhao Yun, as if she was blaming Zhao Yun for meddling in other people's business. It was originally fine, but it was ruined by Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun curled her lips, and a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. She was too lazy to pay attention to Li Chuanying. After Li turned to leave, Zhao Wentao's, Zhao Yun's, Zhao's, Zhao, Zhao, saw Zhao Wentao sighing and asked, Fourth uncle, why are you sighing? Zhao Wentao twitched his mouth and smiled at Zhao Yun. Actually, your second aunt is also a pitiful person. She is she? Uncles to S Yun's, thus why? To her to doing this. Your second uncle? Zhao Wentao suddenly stopped talking. He felt that it wasn't appropriate to mention this in front of Zhao Yun, so he gave up and didn't say anything else. Zhao Yun was a little anxious. What's wrong with fourth uncle? Nothing. Yun, you're still young. There are some things you don't understand. Your second uncle doesn't treat your second aunt very well. As for the rest of us, we should help your second aunt as much as we can to make up for it. After Zhao Wentao said this, he didn't seem to want to talk about it anymore and changed the topic. Zhao Yun found it even more strange. Zhao Wentao obviously had a hidden meaning in his words, but he didn't say it out loud. It really made her anxious. Chapter 1289. As the saying goes, paper can't wrap fire. Someone will find out the truth one day. When Zhao Wenshui secretly went to see Qian Chuanxiu, Zhao Wentao happened to see him. Zhao Wentao knew that it was a shameful thing, so he couldn't tell others. If he told others, it would not only embarrass old Zhao's family, but also embarrass Zhao Wenshui. People in the village might gossip and ruin the reputation of old Zhao's family. In addition, he was afraid that Li Chuang would be so angry that he would fight with Zhao Wenshui. At that time, old Zhao's family might be in trouble. For the sake of the harmony of old Zhao's family, this matter had to be kept a secret. Li Chuang couldn't know about it. However, because Zhao Wentao knew that Zhao Wenshui had an affair with another woman, he felt that Zhao Wenshui had wronged Li Chuang and felt guilty towards Li Chuang. Zhao Wenshui couldn't treat Li Chuang well. As his younger brother, he naturally had to make up for it. Fourth uncle, now that we've separated from the family, what do you and sister-in-law plan to do? Zhao Yun asked. Speaking of this, Zhao Wentao and Qian Hongzhao really hadn't thought about it. Zhao Wentao still went to the mountains to mine from time to time. Although he couldn't make a lot of money, he could at least make his family hungry. In addition, after they separated from the family, they were given some fields. These fields could be used to grow food and they could also gain some harvest. As long as they were diligent, their lives might be better than when they didn't separate from the family. How can we plan to do anything? Just like everyone else, we'll live our lives as we should. Zhao Yun'er smiled and said, Fourth uncle, now that we have separated from the family, do you and fourth sister-in-law plan to let cousin Tianqi go to school? Like cousin Tianlong, he will be able to pass the imperial examinations and become outstanding? Zhao Tianqi, who Zhao Yun'er mentioned, was Zhao Wentao and Qian Hongzhao's son. He was 7 years old this year, 1 year younger than Zhao Tianfu. She was at the right age to go to school. In the past, even if Zhao Wentao and Qian Hongzhao wanted to study for Zhao Tianqi, they probably wouldn't be able to. After all, other than Zhao Tianqi, old Zhao's family had a lot of descendants. All of them were studying and there was no money to support them. If he read it to one of them, the other descendants would definitely read it as well. Otherwise, it would be unfair and make them feel uncomfortable. Hearing Zhao Yun'er's words, Zhao Wentao was slightly taken aback. In the past, he didn't dare to think about this. After all, he felt that it was impossible. Although in his heart, he felt that studying was good. Children would only have the opportunity to bring glory to their ancestors if they studied. However, the conditions were there. It was not as if they could study just because they wanted to. Fourth uncle, I think it's better for the child to study more. Why don't you discuss it with fourth aunt and see if Tianqi can study? Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but suggest. If it was the 21st century, most children would be able to read and write. If they studied, they might not become illiterate, but at least they would be more cultured. Zhao Yun'er couldn't stand the weirdos in the village. With quality education, it would be much better. What Zhao Yun'er said was not only about the matter of scholarly honors. Zhao Wentao thought for a moment. Hey Yun'er, I also want to study for Tianqi, but it costs a lot to study for a year. Fourth uncle is not capable and may not be able to afford it. Chapter 1290. After hearing Zhao Yun'er's words, Zhao Wentao couldn't help but be curious. Yun'er, what kind of work will your family have to do in the future? Will it be for a while? Or can it continue for a long time? Zhao Wentao was mainly worried about this. He was now mining iron on the mountain and could earn dozens of copper coins a day. In a month, he could earn more than 1 tael of silver. Of course, this was taking into account. After all, he didn't have work to do every day. In addition, he didn't know how long he could mine. It might be half a year or a year. If he could earn money to support Zhao Tianqi's studies in this half a year or a year, where would he earn the money in the future? Therefore, he had to make money for a long time. It was not a matter of half a year or a year. It had to be stable for at least 5 to 6 years or 7 to 8 years. Zhao Yun'er smiled. Don't worry, fourth uncle. My family's work can be done for a long time. I guarantee that you can earn enough for cousin Tianqi's tuition in a year. With Zhao Yun'er's words, Zhao Wentao was indeed relieved. He might not believe what others said, but he believed what Zhao Yun'er said. After all, Zhao Yun'er had never talked nonsense. If she said 1, it was 1. If she said 2, it was 2. Yuna, can you tell me what kind of work your family is going to do? It takes so much time. Zhao Yun'er explained. Zhao Wentao still didn't understand half of it, but he had a general understanding. With a stable income, Zhao Wentao thought that it was indeed good to teach Zhao Tianqi. He didn't expect Zhao Tianqi to be like Zhao Tianlong. He only wanted Zhao Tianqi to be like Zhao Wenxing in the future. It was always easier to teach than to work in the fields. Furthermore, scholars were respected by the masses. He suffered because he didn't study. His son couldn't follow in his footsteps. After chatting with Zhao Wentao for a while, Zhao Wentao had almost moved everything that needed to be moved. After old Zhao's family split, many things had to be redistributed. It didn't seem much, but it was a little difficult to move them. After working for the whole morning, they were finally done. From today onwards, old Zhao's family would live their own lives. There was only one kitchen in old Zhao's house. Now that they had separated, the original kitchen was reserved for Zhao Baoshan and Hu Chunhua. Before the other families finished building their own kitchens, they could borrow them for a while, but after a while, they wouldn't be allowed to use them anymore. Now that they were eating separately, cooking was the most troublesome thing. There was only one pot, so everyone had to line up to cook it. They couldn't squeeze together. Eldest sister-in-law, let me come down and cook. Our Wenshui and Tianyu are both hungry. The sooner it's cooked, the sooner we can give it to them to eat. You wait first. When my family is ready, you can use it. Li Chuiying went to the kitchen and saw that Feng Xianxia wanted to start a fire to cook. She quickly stopped her. Feng Xianxia was a little unhappy. She retorted to Li Chuiying, "Why should I let your family cook first? Our Yang is hungry too. He's still a child, so his stomach can't take it. When he's hungry, he has to eat. Your Tianyu is already grown up. Second brother is really a grown-up. It's okay to bear with it, so let our family cook first and eat first." Li Chuiying glared at Feng Xianxia angrily. He couldn't win an argument with his sister-in-law and was always bullied. In the past, Hu Chunhua was biased towards Feng Xianxia. Now that they had separated, Li Chuiying felt that he shouldn't give in to Feng Xianxia anymore. Chapter 1291. Li Chuiying looked at Feng Xianxia unhappily. Feng Xianxia frowned and argued with Li Chuiying. "Who said that you can cook when the dishes are ready? I came to the kitchen first, so I have to cook first." "Sister-in-law, how can you bully us like this? Why should the second branch give in to the first branch? Today, the second branch has to cook first. That won't do. Second sister-in-law, I can't give in to you. You can't spoil my Yang. Can you bear the responsibility for my precious grandson?" Li Chuiying put her hands on her hips and was infuriated by Feng Xianxia. "Humph, you call your Yang darling. So what if my Tianyu is hungry? You're so selfish." The two of them went back and forth and almost started a fight in the kitchen. Hu Chunhua heard the quarrel in the room and rushed in angrily. "Quarrel, quarrel, quarrel, all you know how to do is quarrel. Quarreling every day when there's something going on. Hurry up and shut up, or else my wife will take a needle and sew up your mouths one by one." Hu Chunhua's fierce tone and eyes frightened Li Chuiying and Feng Xianxia. "Mother, I didn't want to quarrel, but sister-in-law insisted on occupying the pot to cook first. Look, I've already prepared the dishes, so I'll definitely cook faster than her. What's wrong with letting me cook first?" Li Chuiying complained in front of Hu Chunhua, feeling wronged. Feng Xianxia was unwilling to be left behind. "Mother, my Yang is hungry. What's wrong with me cooking first? Tianyu is a big boy and can withstand hunger, but Yang is still young and can't withstand hunger." "Mother," Hu Chunhua was confused by Li Chuiying and Feng Xianxia's quarrel. Shut up, both of you shut up. You can even quarrel over cooking. I really admire the two of you. Every day, you talk about trivial matters. Aren't you afraid of embarrassing yourself if word gets out? There's only one kitchen, and I'm the one who cooks first. Since when did it become your turn? In a few days, all of you will have to make your own kitchen. Don't squeeze together. It's inconvenient. When I'm done today, the first branch will use it first, and the second branch will use it later. Tomorrow, it'll be your turn. You can have one day first. Since Hua Chunhua said so, Li Chuiying and Feng Xianxia couldn't say anything more. Taking turns like this was considered very fair. If they said anything else, Hua Chunhua would probably scold them again. Mother. All right then. Then my sister-in-law will go first. My family will go first tomorrow. Li Chuiying replied. Hua Chunhua responded faintly. Then she began to cook. Liang Jinxiao heard the noise in the kitchen of old Zhao's house. Old Zhao's family members were taking turns. The fourth branch was the last to eat today. If they wanted to eat, they didn't know how long they would have to wait. Thus, Liang Jinxiao discussed with Zhao Yun, let's cook 2 more dishes. Today, we can ask your 4th uncle and 4th aunt to come over to eat together so that they don't have to wait in line to cook. Tomorrow or the day after, they can build their own kitchen so that they don't have to squeeze into one kitchen to cook. Zhao Yun naturally had no objections. She nodded and said, "Okay, mother. Let 4th uncle and the others come over to eat. Go and tell them so that they don't have to cook by themselves." "Okay, mother will go now," Liang Jinxiao said and went to find Zhao Wentao and Qian Hongzhao. At first, Zhao Wentao and Qian Hongzhao were embarrassed, but they couldn't resist Liang Jinxiao's enthusiasm and had to agree. Chapter 1292. Liang Jinxiao smiled and said, "It's no trouble at all. Just ask Yuner to cook a few more dishes. It's not like we eat every day, so it doesn't matter if we eat 1 or 2 meals. Third sister-in-law will still have to trouble you. Ha, 4th brother, 4th sister-in-law, you're too polite. It'll be more convenient when your own kitchen is ready. It's not convenient to have one kitchen to cook now. Third sister-in-law, you're right. We'll be busy building the wooden shed in the afternoon. Tomorrow, we'll go to the blacksmith to custom make a pot. The kitchen will be ready in less than 2 days. That's good." Liang Jinxiao laughed heartily. Li Chuiying felt a little uncomfortable when she saw that Liang Jinxiao invited the 4th branch to eat, but not the 2nd branch. Without feeling embarrassed, Li Chuiying went directly to Liang Jinxiao and said to Liang Jinxiao, "Third sister-in-law, since it's not troublesome for your family, why don't you let the 2nd branch eat with you? Anyway, it's just a matter of adding a few more pairs of chopsticks. You invited 4th brother and 4th sister-in-law, but you can't not invite me and your 2nd brother, right?" Liang Jinxiao's mouth twitched, and he didn't know how to refuse. When Zhao Yuner heard Li Chuiying's words, she came out of the kitchen and said with a fake smile, "2nd aunt, you really know how to compare yourself with others. When 4th uncle and 4th aunt help us with the chores, why don't I see you and 2nd uncle coming over to help? You don't know how to do the chores, but you know how to come over to eat. How interesting." Li Chuiying immediately cowered when she saw Zhao Yuna. She argued back, "Your family didn't ask my family to do the chores. If you asked, we might have helped." Zhao Yuner sneered. She really didn't know how to deal with thick-skinned people. "2nd aunt, why don't you know how to do the chores if we don't ask you to? You know how to come over when we don't ask you to eat. This ability is really great." "You." Li Chuiying angrily glared at Zhao Yuner. "Third sister-in-law, look at your good daughter. How is she speaking to her elders?" Liang Jinxiao said helplessly, "2nd sister-in-law, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said. It's true." Li Chuiying was angered by Zhao Yuner and Liang Jinxiao. Originally, he wanted Liang Jinxiao to apologize to her, but his 3rd sister-in-law had changed a lot. She didn't follow his words at all. "If you don't want to eat, so be it. Just you wait. Just wait until my family has delicious food. I'll make you guys drool." After Li Chuiying finished speaking, he angrily turned around and left. Zhao Yuna was even more disinclined to pay attention to people like Li Chuiying. It was good to send him away. It was really annoying to hang around in front of him. "4th uncle, 4th aunt, please go inside and have a seat. I'll cook 2 more dishes. It'll be ready in a while," Zhao Yuner said. Zhao Wentao and Qian Hongzhao both responded, "Okay, Yuner girl. Thank you for your hard work." With that, The two of them didn't stand on ceremony and went into the third branch's room. In old Zhao's kitchen, only Hua Chunhua and Zhao Baoshan were eating because they had separated from the main family. Hua Chunhua casually cooked 2 dishes. If she cooked too many dishes, she wouldn't be able to finish them all. Now that the whole family wasn't eating together, Hua Chunhua was very generous. She took out all the good things in the room and fried a plate of bacon and a plate of vegetables. Chapter 1293. Previously, he was reluctant to eat it because 20 caddies of bacon was not much. Good things should be eaten slowly. He could not finish it all at once. Moreover, he could save some dishes for the banquet, so there was no need to cook it. After eating for a few days, the leftovers were almost finished. Hua Chunhua left some meat for lunch, and the rest of the vegetables were distributed to the other members of her family. Now, he was going to make some salted meat so that he could have a taste. Since they weren't a big family, they didn't need to fight for food. Especially without Zhao Wenshui, if they hadn't split up, Zhao Wenshui would have been able to eat half of it. Now that she made a plate of bacon, she and Zhao Baoshan could eat it slowly. A plate of bacon could last them for 3 days. Zhao Baoshan needed a side dish to go with drinking, and the bacon was just right. After Hua Chunhua heated up the leftover meat broth from the banquet, the entire kitchen was filled with a strong aroma. The most fragrant of all was the salted meat, which had a very strong aroma. The members of Zhao Baoshan's family, who were waiting outside the kitchen, couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Zhao Yangyang said to Feng Xianxia, "Grandma, it smells so good. Yangyang wants to eat it." Feng Xianxia frowned. "Yangyang, wait a little longer. Grandma will cook for you later." "Mother, Yangyang is eating the food that Grandma made." Xinpan explained. "What did you eat when you were a baby? It smells so good. I don't think we have it at home." Xinpan stretched out her nose and took a sniff. She was quite familiar with Xiang, because before she got married, her family would always make salted fish and bacon at the end of every year. The villagers were poor, and they couldn't even eat fresh pork, so they naturally didn't have the extra meat to make salted fish. If the salted meat was cooked properly, it was actually more delicious than fresh pork. For example, it was better to add some garlic to stir-fry it, or steam it with rice. The rice with the bacon would be infused with the fragrance of the bacon, which was very delicious. Shenpan then explained to Feng Xianxia, "Mom, it's bacon." "Bacon? I heard it's salted meat, right? There aren't many people in our village who eat it." Shenpan nodded. "Yeah, we don't eat it often." "Then where did you get the milk from?" Feng Xianxia asked with some puzzlement. "It must be from Lord Meng." Shenpan guessed. Thinking of the good things that young Master Meng sent over the other day, Hua Chunhua carried many of them into the house by herself, without letting the Zhao family see them. Hearing Shenpan's words, Feng Xianxia couldn't help but scold her. "This old hag is so cruel. She keeps all the good stuff to herself and doesn't even give it to her sons and grandsons. When they're old and can't move anymore, let's see who's going to take care of her." The more Feng Xianxia thought about it, the angrier she was. She didn't think that Lord Meng would give her the good things when they separated from the family. Now that they were divided, she didn't get any of Lord Meng's good things. Shenpan comforted her mother. "Mother, don't think too much about it. When I go back, I'll go to my mother's house and bring some delicious food over. When Tianlong comes back, our good days will come. Right now, the most important thing is that we've separated from the family." Chapter 1294. Feng Xianxia held Shenpan's hand and said emotionally, "Panner, you're my best daughter-in-law." Shenpan smiled and said to Feng Xianxia, "Mom, it's what I should do. If your younger brother's future wife can be half as good as you, I'll be relieved." Feng Xianxia sighed with emotion. Now that they had separated from the main family, there was basically nothing for him to worry about. The only thing he was worried about was Zhao Tianhu's marriage. After all, it concerned Zhao Tianhu's marriage, so he had to take it seriously. "Mom, my younger sister-in-law will definitely be fine," Shenpan said with a smile, but she felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. It was said that sisters-in-law were difficult to get along with. Who knew what kind of woman Zhao Tianhu would marry? If she wasn't easy to get along with, they would feel uncomfortable living together. Most importantly, if Zhao Tianhu married a woman, would Feng Xianxia be biased? When her younger sister-in-law gave birth to a child, she would inevitably need Feng Xianxia's help to take care of it. At that time, Feng Xianxia wouldn't have so much time to take care of her Yang. Feng Xianxia held Shen Panner's hand and said, I also hope that your younger sister-in-law will be a good girl. That way, we can live in harmony with each other. Shen Panner smiled and nodded, but she had other thoughts in her heart. Now that the main family and old Zhao's family had separated from each other, Shen Panner was happy that this matter was solved. Now, she was thinking that it would be better for her branch to separate from Zhao Tianhu's branch. Zhao Tianhu was just a farmer in the countryside. He couldn't be compared with Zhao Tianlong, who had obtained scholarly honors and was going to live a life of an official in the future. If she took Zhao Tianhu and his family with her, she would be asking Zhao Tianlong to take care of Zhao Tianhu's family for no reason. In that case, they would definitely be at a disadvantage. Unfortunately, Shen Panner couldn't say it now. If she said it, Feng Xianxia would definitely be unhappy. She had to wait for a chance to say it in the future. Feng Xianxia then pulled Shen Panner to talk about Zhao Tianhu's marriage. It wouldn't be long before Zhao Tianhu's wedding could be arranged. After finishing the meal in the third branch's house, Zhao Yuna went back home. She was carrying a food box with some food in it. Zhao Yuna wasn't sure whether the emperor had left or not, so she put more food in it. Otherwise, if it was like last time where the emperor ate all the food, Mu Lianfeng wouldn't be able to eat. She was still on the mountain was still on the mountain. Was still on the mountain. Mu Lianfeng led the emperor around the mountain and took a look at the smelting and weapon manufacturing places. This batch of weapons can greatly enhance the strength of our soldiers in Dezhou. The emperor stood with his hands clasped behind his back. After seeing the scene on the mountain, he praised Mu Lianfeng. Mu Lianfeng nodded. The weapons in Dezhou are definitely much better than those in other countries, but I don't dare to claim credit for it. It's all thanks to Yuna. The emperor's lips curled into a smile. Don't worry, Miss Yun has done a meritorious deed. I know. In the future, there should be a reward. I won't be short. I thank you on behalf of Yuna, Your Majesty, Mu Lianfeng said respectfully. Chapter 1295. Looking into the emperor's eyes, Mu Lianfeng's heart trembled. He felt that the emperor's sudden reaction was obviously because of some reason. Could it be that the emperor had doubts about his loyalty? His heart couldn't help but tighten. Mu Lianfeng hurriedly said, Your Majesty, this subject is loyal and devoted to Your Majesty. This subject will follow Your Majesty forever in this life. The emperor glanced at Mu Lianfeng, and the smile on his lips deepened. Mu Aiqing, why are you so excited? Zhen was just saying it casually. Zhen knows your loyalty. Mu Lianfeng didn't know why, but because of the emperor's words, he became even more nervous. A layer of cold sweat involuntarily appeared on his forehead. Your Majesty, this subject will try my best. This subject will definitely not let Your Majesty down. Mu Lianfeng opened his mouth and said, showing his loyalty in front of the emperor. The emperor's meaningful smile deepened. He didn't continue to answer Mu Lianfeng's words, which made Mu Lianfeng even more nervous. Just then he saw a woman's figure coming over. It was Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun greeted the two men. I brought you food. Come and eat quickly. Mu Lianfeng was thinking, but the emperor took a step forward and walked towards Zhao Yun. After a while, Mu Lianfeng came back to his senses and followed the emperor's footsteps. It's really a blessing to be able to eat the food made by Miss Yun again today. The emperor glanced at the food with a smile in his eyes. Zhao Yun didn't know the emperor's identity. After knowing the emperor's identity, she was more or less afraid of this man. She was afraid that if she made him unhappy, she would suffer a calamity. It's nothing. It's just a few more dishes. If you want to eat, you can stay here for a few more days. Zhao Yun said politely, but didn't expect the emperor to directly agree. Mu Lianfeng was speechless as he looked at the man in bright yellow clothes. He still wanted to stay for a few more days? How could that be? Facing him every day, Mu Lianfeng felt that he was already depressed enough. If he stayed with him for a few days, how could he bear it? Most importantly, the emperor had to go back and deal with imperial consort Hua's imperial decree. However, no matter how rich Mu Lianfeng's thoughts were, he didn't dare to reveal any of them in front of the emperor. He was afraid that he would say something wrong and anger the emperor. While Mu Lianfeng was deep in thought, Zhao Yun had already placed the dishes on the small table. Seeing Mu Lianfeng in a daze, Zhao Yun greeted Mu Lianfeng again. Seeing Mu Lianfeng's restless look, Zhao Yun guessed the reason. She couldn't help but look at the emperor. Did he say something to Mu Lianfeng? Zhao Yun didn't ask too much. After serving Mu Lianfeng and the emperor for lunch, Zhao Yun went back. When she went down the mountain, she planned to go to Mu Lan's house and ask her to go up the mountain with her to pick tea. Just as she arrived at Mu Lan's courtyard, she heard the family Zhu quarreling. It was Madame Qi and Mrs. Zhu. Zhao Yun vaguely heard Mrs. Zhu scolding Madame Qi, "You damned woman, look at what you've done. You bought a broken mountain. What's the use of it? You squandered all the money at home. Now you can't even pay for your third brother's treatment. See how I deal with you." Chapter 1296. Mrs. Zhu was furious. She pointed at Madame Qi's nose and continued to scold her, "Qi, you only know how to talk big. It's because you're the head of the household that we can't keep our money and you squandered it away." Madame Qi was not convinced by Mrs. Zhu's scolding. "Mother, what's wrong with spending money? Dania hasn't said anything yet. What right do you have to scold me? If the money was in your hands, you would probably spend it all on third brother. Why would you even think about us?" Mrs. Zhu glared fiercely at Madame Qi. "You little Qi, you know how to talk back. When Dania comes back, I'll have a good talk with him and see if he can't deal with you." After Mrs. Zhu said that, Madame Qi felt a little scared. She only said it in front of Mrs. Zhu. If Zhu Dania came back and asked about the barren mountain, she wouldn't know what to say. She didn't want it to be like this. Who knew that the Zhao wouldn't buy it? Now she couldn't transfer it out. She thought about how she went over to the barren mountain yesterday. She went to look for Lord Li Zheng. When Madame Qi arrived at Li Zheng's house, Li Zheng happened to be home, so Madame Qi walked in. When Li Zheng saw Madame Qi, he wasn't very happy. This was because Madame Qi was a troublemaker in the village. She must be here for some trivial matter. However, even if he didn't welcome her, he couldn't stop her from coming. He asked Madame Qi, "Family Zhu's eldest daughter-in-law, what are you here for today?" Madame Qi went up to Lord Li Zheng and smiled at him with a fawning look. "Lord Li Zheng, I'm here for something. There's something I want to discuss with you." Li Zheng's frown deepened. He had a premonition that something bad was going to happen. He replied faintly, "Just say it. I'll agree if I can. If I can't do it, I can't agree. Whether you agree or not depends on what it is." Madame Qi smiled embarrassedly and replied to Lord Li Zheng, "Lord Li Zheng, you're right. I'm here to discuss with you about the barren mountain. Can our village still take it back? I'll return it to the village. Can you return the 5 taels of silver I gave you earlier?" Hearing Madame Qi's words, Lord Li Zheng's face darkened. Originally, Zhao Yun still wanted to buy it. However, after being tormented by Madame Qi, Zhao Yun did not buy it. Because of this, Lord Li Zheng felt somewhat guilty towards Zhao Yun. Now, Madame Qi wanted to return the barren mountain to the village. If that was the case, then what was the point of buying it in the first place? Seeing Li Zhengdaren's sullen face and not speaking, Madame Qi nervously glanced at Li Zhengdaren. "Lord Li Zheng, my family really can't use this barren mountain. When I bought it, I didn't discuss it with my husband. Now, my husband scolded me to death. He said that if I can't get back the 5 taels of silver, he will beat me to death." Madame Qi wiped her tears as she spoke, looking exceptionally pitiful. For a moment, Lord Li Zheng didn't know what to say to Madame Qi. That saying was right. Heaven's sins could be forgiven, but self-inflicted sins were the hardest to bear. For a person like Madame Qi, if she didn't suffer a little, she wouldn't learn her lesson. Chapter 1297. Madame Qi had taken the initiative to spend 5 taels of silver to buy the barren mountain, so it was normal for Zhu Dainiu to be angry. If his wife had spent 5 taels of silver to buy something useless, he would probably be angry too. Madame Qi's tears kept falling, looking panicked and helpless. Seeing this, village head felt pity for Madame Qi. However, how could they return something that was sold for no reason? Moreover, Madame Qi had bought the barren mountain and he had already helped her with the paperwork. Unless someone else bought it from Madame Qi, the village would not spend money to take it back. Sympathy was sympathy, but some rules could not be broken. Lord Village Head said to Madame Qi, "Family Zhu's eldest daughter-in-law, it's not that I don't want to help you, but the village really can't take back your barren mountain. It would have been fine if the paperwork hadn't been done, but now that the paperwork has been done, your name is also written on the title deed of the barren mountain in the village. Lord Village Head, can't you help me a little more? You can't just watch as my daimyo beats me to death, right?" Madame Qi wiped her tears and continued to cry in front of Lord Village Head. Lord Village Head sighed deeply, "Ai, Family Zhu's eldest daughter-in-law, I really can't help you. I'll talk to daimyo and ask him not to be agitated and not to beat you too hard." Madame Qi's eyes were still filled with worry. "Lord Village Head, this won't do. My daimyo won't care. He'll deal with you verbally, but he'll continue to beat me later. Then I can't do anything about it. Family Zhu's eldest daughter-in-law, after all, you have a lot of responsibility for this matter. If you didn't insist on it back then, it wouldn't have ended up like this." Madame Qi pursed her lips and said, "Lord Village Head, how would I know at that time? If she had known, she wouldn't have bought it even if she was beaten to death." Now, he finally knew what it meant to be regretful. "Ai, there's no way to change it now. Family Zhu's eldest daughter-in-law, instead of begging me, it's better to beg Zhao Yun. She just happens to want to buy the barren mountain. Let her buy your barren mountain and you can get your 5 taels back. Now you'd better leave. It's useless to say anything to me." As Li Zheng spoke, he looked like he was chasing Madame Qi away. Madame Qi knew that Lord Li Zheng was chasing her away. No matter how much effort she put in, Lord Li Zheng would not pay attention to her. She felt a little uncomfortable and pursed her lips. In order not to be disliked by Lord Li Zheng, Qi sure turned around and left. As for Lord Li Zheng's suggestion for her to beg Zhao Yun, forget it. Zhao Yun, that be asterisk teeth. Even if he begged her, it would probably be useless. Most importantly, Madame Qi couldn't bear to see her being humble to Zhao Yun and Zhao Yun showing off in front of her. After returning home, Madame Qi knew that she was at her wit's end and couldn't move the barren mountain out. She was afraid that Zhu Dainiu would mention this matter. Madame Qi thought about it again. Why did she want to take advantage of him? Great, now she had shot herself in the foot. Pulling her thoughts back to reality, Madame Qi angrily retorted in the face of Mrs. Zhu's incessant scolding, "Mother, what's the use of scolding me? If you have the ability, go reason with Lord Li Zheng and ask him to take back the barren mountain. This way, won't we get our 5 taels back?" Chapter 1298. It's fine if you don't want to say it, but we can't afford the money for third brother's treatment. Anyway, it's not our family's treatment. Madame Qi replied uncomfortably. Mrs. Zhu was so angry at Madame Qi that she almost vomited blood. This stinky woman had grasped this point. "Bitch, see if I don't teach you a lesson. Without Dainiu's protection, where can you go?" As Mrs. Zhu spoke, she picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at Madame Qi. Madame Qi quickly jumped away and frowned. She said angrily to Mrs. Zhu, "You old hag, you really dare to hit me. Aren't you afraid that you'll smash me to death?" "You deserve to be smashed to death," Mrs. Zhu replied fiercely. "All right, vicious old hag, I usually put up with you because you're an elder. Since you've gone overboard, I won't be polite." As she spoke, Madame Qi rolled up her sleeves and looked like she was going to fight Mrs. Zhu to the death. In the courtyard, Mulan saw that her mother-in-law and sister-in-law were about to fight, so she quickly stepped forward and separated the two of them. "Mother, sister-in-law, don't fight. We're family. It's not good for anyone if you get hurt. If outsiders see this, they'll laugh at our family Zhu. Mrs. Zhu also glared at Mulan and said to Mulan with a look of disdain, "That's enough, second daughter-in-law, don't be hypocritical. I don't usually see you being so filial." "Mother." Mulan looked at Mrs. Zhu speechlessly. Why did she have to be scolded for no reason? Was it wrong for him to come and stop the fight? "Second sister-in-law, get out of the way. This old hag must be taught a lesson. Now that she's relying on Dainiu's protection, who does she think she is?" Madame Qi pushed Mulan and despised Mulan for being a hindrance. Mulan looked at Madame Qi helplessly and then looked at Mrs. Zhu, not knowing what to say. After thinking about it, she decided not to meddle in other people's business. She cared about them in her heart, but she didn't end up well in front of them. Since that was the case, what was the point of her doing this? It was better to not meddle in order to avoid offending them. Mulan then stepped back and let Mrs. Zhu and Madame Qi fight. The two of them fought intensely. Mulan stood at the side and frowned. Seeing the scratches on old Madame Zhu and Qi Shi's faces, she sighed helplessly. She could only let them go. If she went to stop them now, her face would be scratched too. For her own safety, she couldn't eat it. It was a pity that Zhu Dainiu and Zhu Eru were not at home. Otherwise, it would be much better for the two men to go forward and stop them. This matter was caused by Zhu Sanlu, so Mulan said to Zhu Sanlu, "Third brother, mother and sister-in-law are fighting fiercely. Go and talk to them. Tell them to stop fighting. If the neighbors come over, they'll laugh at our family again." Zhu Sanlu looked at Mulan reluctantly and said to Mulan, "Sister-in-law, I don't want to. Didn't you see that old sister-in-law and mother are fighting fiercely? If I go over now, wouldn't it be worse? What if my handsome face is scratched? Can you afford to pay for it?" Mulan's mouth twitched a few times, and she looked at Zhu Sanlu speechlessly. A man saying such words was really too shameless. She didn't know how he had the nerve to say it. Chapter 1299. However, Zhu Sanlu didn't go over and Mulan couldn't urge him, so she could only let Zhu Sanlu do as he wished. Glancing at Zhu Sanlu, Mulan sighed in her heart. She felt that her third younger brother was really too heartless. Mrs. Zhu fought with Madame Qi because of him. Now that she was beaten until her face was covered in bruises, Zhu Sanlu didn't feel any heartache. She had never seen a son who treated his own mother this way. Mrs. Zhu had doted on Zhu Sanlu for so many years for nothing. She had raised an ingrate who had no conscience. However, Mrs. Zhu couldn't see through him. She still doted on Zhu Sanlu like a treasure. By the time Zhao Yun walked into the family Zhu's courtyard, Mrs. Zhu and Madame Qi were already fighting fiercely. Zhao Yun couldn't help but want to laugh when she saw the two of them. It was a happy sight to see a B*Tisich fighting another B*Tisich. Zhao Yun looked at it with interest, as if she was watching a show. Seeing that Zhao Yun had come over, Mulan went forward to greet Zhao Yun. You're here?" Zhao Yun nodded and responded, "I was going to ask you to go up the mountain to pick tea leaves, but I didn't expect to see this scene." Mulan smiled helplessly. "Yun, we've embarrassed ourselves in front of you." This has nothing to do with you. The two of them are fighting. You can just watch the show. Actually, you don't have to get involved with people like them. Otherwise, you'll get hurt." Mulan responded, "Yeah, Yun, I know." Zhao Yun smiled and said, "Yeah, it's good that you know. I'm just afraid that you're too stupid. You can't be too kind-hearted." "Yun, I'll remember what you said." Zhao Yun recalled that Mrs. Zhu had said that she wanted to treat Zhu Sanlu's illness. She asked Mulan curiously, "Sister-in-law Mulan, what illness did your third brother get?" At the mention of this, Mulan's ears turned red. She pursed her lips and said, "What illness? My mother didn't ask for money to treat my third brother's illness. She asked for money so that my third brother's lifeblood could survive." When Zhao Yun heard Mulan's words, she couldn't help but choke. "Your third brother's family jewels. They've been trampled on, so how can it be cured?" Mulan shook her head. "I don't know. I'm not sure. However, I have to say that in a village 20 miles away, There is a godly doctor who specializes in treating strange diseases. My mother asked around for a long time before she found out that this miracle doctor had cured someone's family jewels before. So, my mother wanted to take my third brother to have a try. If he succeeds, my third brother's family jewels will be preserved. In the future, he'll be able to marry a wife like a normal person. This way, our family Zhu won't have a descendant. After Zhao Yun heard this, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. If Zhu Sanlu's family jewels were really cured, it would be terrible. Zhu Sanlu might harm people again like before. Therefore, it was much safer for Zhu Sanlu to lose his family jewels. If Zhu Sanlu's family jewels were really cured, who knew if he would harm people again? In order to prevent accidents from happening, it was better for Zhu Sanlu to be treated. Fortunately, the family Zhu had no money now. Without money, there would be no money for treatment. Zhu Sanlu's family jewels would not be cured. Zhao Yun felt a wave of sadness in her heart. Chapter 1300. With Zhao Yun's reminder, Mulan remembered that her third brother was a dangerous person and could not be cured easily. I know. Given the current situation, my third brother won't have the money to treat his illness. As Mulan said this, she heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. In the courtyard, Mrs. Zhu and Madame Qi were still fighting fiercely. They only stopped when Zhu Dainiu came back. Zhu Dainiu said unhappily to Mrs. Zhu and Madame Qi, "What are you fighting about? What are you fighting about? Fighting and quarreling every day, isn't it annoying?" Zhu Dainiu was in a bad mood and his face was gloomy. Originally, he was working well in the field. Suddenly, someone ran to him and told him that his mother and wife were fighting. At that time, there were many people around. After hearing this, they all looked at him strangely. Zhu Dainiu felt very embarrassed. After all, as a man, he cared a lot about his reputation outside. It was not good to have his mother and wife talked badly about. Now that he was back, Zhu Dainiu vented his anger on Mrs. Zhu and Madame Qi. Madame Qi complained to Zhu Dainiu, "Dainiu, you can't blame me for this. It's all my mother's fault. She picked up a stone and threw it at me first. I had no choice but to fight back." Mrs. Zhu glared at Madame Qi and said, "Bitch, no one is better at lying than you. It's all because you wasted 5 taels of silver and caused your third brother to be unable to treat his illness. Dainiu, this prodigal mother can't manage the family well. In the future, it's better to put the family's money in my hands. Otherwise, our family will have nothing to eat. Sooner or later, this bitch will squander it all." If it weren't for Zhu Dainiu, Madame Qi would have gone forward and scratched Mrs. Zhu's mouth. This damned old woman only knows how to talk. Now, she still wants to manage the family's money like before. She is really wishful thinking. Dainiu, don't listen to your mother. Mother is doing this for your third brother. If you really put the money in her hands, she will probably spend it on your third brother. With your third brother's condition, it's a waste of money to treat him. If you want to cure him, I'm afraid it will be a bottomless pit. Madame Qi did not want to fall behind and whispered in Zhu Dainiu's ear. Old Madame Zhu's saliva directly sprayed on Qi Shi's face. "Bullshit. You couldn't spit out ivory just now. You're still Lu's sister-in-law. Is there such a sister-in-law? Mother, you're really biased. It would be great if you could take care of our first branch like this." Madame Qi said sarcastically. Zhu Dainiu had a headache because of old Madame Zhu and Madame Qi. "Shut up both. Mother Zhu is Dainiu. Do you believe that if you say another word, I'll give each of you a slap?" Zhu Dainiu roared. His roar was so loud that Mrs. Zhu and Madame Qi's eardrums could not help but vibrate. The two of them were frightened by Zhu Dainiu and quickly shut their mouths. Zhu Dainiu glanced at Mrs. Zhu and then at Madame Qi. "I am really unlucky to have met people like you. Next time, if you make a fuss, get out. Don't stay in the courtyard." Madame Qi's reaction to Zhu Dainiu's words was not bad. She was already used to it. Mrs. Zhu, on the other hand, was very uncomfortable. Her son disliked her so much and even said such things about her. Anyone would feel very uncomfortable. Chapter 1301. Old Madame Zhu sat on the ground and kicked up her legs. As she cried, she continued to wail, "These days are not over at all. My wife is not a kind person. She bullies me all the time. It's better for her to die so that I don't have to suffer up there." "Hey old man, did you hear that?" Looking at Mrs. Zhu kicking her legs on the ground, Zhu Dania felt his temples ache uncontrollably. Wasn't her mother saying that he wasn't filial when she made such a fuss? If this was heard by others, they might poke him in the back again. He had to stay in the village and couldn't stand other people's gossip. Zhu Dania had to walk to Mrs. Zhu and pull Mrs. Zhu, who was on the ground. "Mother, what are you doing? You're shouting so loudly. The neighbors will hear it later." Mrs. Zhu replied unhappily, "So what if they hear it? I have to show them how hard my life is." Zhu Daniu's face was dark and unsightly. "Mother, even if you don't think it's shameful, I still want to save my face. I just scolded you. Didn't you and Xiao's mother argue? If you two didn't argue in front of me, I wouldn't have scolded you. It's tiring enough to work every day. When I come home, I have to see you arguing. If you have so much energy, why don't you go to the field and help me?" After Zhu Dania finished, Mrs. Zhu closed her mouth. She had made a fuss before. Now that she saw Zhu Daniu's face changed and he seemed to be angry, she didn't dare to make a fuss again. If she really annoyed Zhu Daniu, she would end up in a miserable state. Mrs. Zhu said with embarrassment, "Oh, Daniu, I don't want to do this, but your third younger brother's family jewels have to be cured. No matter how poor our family is, we have to cure your third younger brother. Otherwise, I won't be able to face your father when I go back." As old Madame Zhu spoke, her resentful gaze fell on Qishir. If this be asterisk Tisich hadn't lost their family's money, they would have been able to pay for Zhu Sanlu's treatment. "Mother, I think it's fine to not treat third brother's family jewels. Anyway, he can't do anything good with that kind of thing." Zhu Dania didn't have any taboos in front of old Madame Zhu and directly said to her, even if his family was rich, he wouldn't let Mrs. Zhu use the money to treat Zhu Sanlu's family jewels. Madame Qi hurriedly chimed in, "That's right, Mother. Don't you know what kind of person third brother is? It's a good thing that we don't have it, but if we do, we'll be in danger." Mrs. Zhu was furious. "I've never seen such a heartless brother and sister-in-law. Do you want our third branch to die?" Mrs. Zhu scolded. She breathed heavily and threatened Zhu Daniu and Mrs. Qi, "If you don't agree to cure your third younger brother today, I'll kill myself in front of you. After I die, I'll curse you." Mrs. Zhu's words were very serious. Zhu Daniu and Mrs. Qi were scared. People in the village were superstitious. They believed in things like curses very much. Chapter 1302. Zhao Yunhu, who was watching the drama, had the same thought as Mrs. Qi. Mrs. Zhu wasn't very old. If she lived well, she could live for at least 20 years. Who wasn't afraid of death? Especially old Madame Zhu, she was probably even more afraid of death. If she really hit the wall, Mrs. Zhu would be terrified. Mulan watched from the side, but she was very worried. She was afraid that old Madame Zhu would really take things too hard and hit the wall. She looked at Mrs. Zhu with concern. Zhao Yun patted Mulan's hand and comforted her. "Mrs. Mulan, it's fine. Your sister-in-law is right. She's just bluffing. If you're scared, she'll achieve her goal." Mulan frowned and nodded. She murmured, "Well, I don't think so. My mother won't do that." Zhu Daniu glanced at Mrs. Zhu. He was a little worried at first, but after hearing Mrs. Qi's words, he thought it was reasonable. Zhu Daniu cared about money. He didn't know how much it would cost to cure his third younger brother. If he was soft-hearted and agreed, he would regret it in the future. Mrs. Zhu glared at Mrs. Qi. The more she thought about it, the more aggrieved she felt. They were sure that she wouldn't hit the wall, so they said those words. Thinking that Zhu Sanlu didn't have money to treat his illness, his penis couldn't recover, Mrs. Zhu felt desperate. Old Madame Zhu took a deep breath and mustered up her courage. She suddenly slammed her head against the wall. When she hit the wall, Mrs. Zhu deliberately controlled her strength. She only hit her head, but she wouldn't really kill herself. There was a sudden scream in the yard. Zhu Dainiu and Mulan both ran to Mrs. Zhu at once. Zhu Dainiu shouted, "Mom, Mom, are you all right? Don't scare me." Mulan also shouted, "Mother, why did you hit your head against the wall?" Seeing this, Zhu Sanlu finally frowned and walked in the direction of old Madame Zhu. He knew better than anyone else that in the whole family Zhu, only his mother loved him the most. Without his mother, he couldn't live a good life. Therefore, his mother couldn't be eaten. Even if she died, he had to be able to raise himself and take care of himself first. Only Madame Qi stood there in a daze. She didn't expect that old Madame Zhu would really hit the wall. At this moment, she only muttered in her heart, "It's over, it's over. Zhu Dainiu will definitely scold her to death. What should she do? This damn old woman might harm others, but she still wanted to harm others after she died." Mrs. Qi silently prayed that she wouldn't be implicated. She didn't care about Mrs. Zhu's life at all. Old Madame Zhu's forehead was swollen and a lot of blood came out. It looked a little scary. Hearing Zhu Dainiu's voice, Mrs. Zhu pretended to cry. "You're such a heartless son. Why did you stop me? Do you still have me in your heart? I'd rather die." After all, she was his mother who raised him. Zhu Dainiu wasn't as heartless as Zhu Sanlu. Seeing Mrs. Zhu like this, he frowned and looked at Mrs. Zhu with worry. "Mom, don't be angry. Can't we talk it out? Do I have to find a living one?" Mrs. Zhu snorted. "Talk it out? What's there to talk about? Haven't you and your wife already made a deal?" Chapter 1303. Mrs. Zhu didn't believe that Zhu Dainiu wouldn't be scared if she made a scene a few more times. Everyone cared about their reputation, and she knew that her son valued his reputation very much. If she died because of Zhu Dainiu, the villagers would definitely gossip about Zhu Dainiu. "Mom." Zhu Dainiu truly felt somewhat helpless, and he didn't know what to do. If he didn't agree, Mrs. Zhu would probably hit her head against the wall again. Zhu Dainiu couldn't be too harsh, so he could only angrily say to old Madame Zhu, "Mother, it's not that we don't want to treat third brother's illness. It's just that my wife has squandered all the money in the family. Mom, I'll teach her a lesson, but I don't have the money right now." Then I don't want to live anymore. If I can't cure Zhuang, there's no point for me to live anymore." Zhu Dainiu twitched the corners of his mouth. After thinking for a while, he said to his mother, "Mom, don't be like this. We need money to cure our third brother's illness. We can't steal money now. Well, why don't you ask our second brother and second sister-in-law for money? Their family is rich enough to build a house. I'm sure they can afford the money for our third brother's treatment." After Zhu Dainiu said that, Mrs. Zhu's sight fell on Mulan. Mulan's heart skipped a beat. What was Zhu Dainiu talking about? What did he mean by her family was rich? Her family wasn't living a good life either. Zhao Yun had borrowed the money to build a house. Now that the breakfast stand in the town was closed, they didn't have a fixed income. Before they found a new way to make money, they had to save money. They couldn't spend it casually. Zhu Dainiu had completely pushed all the blame onto her. It was impossible for Mulan to have any opinions in her heart. Second sister-in-law, mother gave birth to second brother and raised him. As a daughter-in-law, you should be filial to mother. You can't just watch mother die in front of us. Zhu Dainiu said to Mulan. Mulan couldn't help but snort coldly in her heart. Since she knew that she should be filial, why didn't she see how filial she was usually? Now she was talking about her. Mulan suppressed the anger in her chest and said to Zhu Dainiu, "Brother, what are you talking about? Your family has no money, and my family has no money either. Second sister-in-law, if you don't want to care about our mother's life and death, just say it. How dare you say that you don't have money? Who doesn't know your family is rich?" Mrs. Zhu scolded. "Our old family Zhu has sinned by marrying a scourge. She only knows how to spend money on others and not on her own family." Mrs. Zhu was hinting at Mu Hin. Since Mulan had married into the family Zhu, she was a member of the family Zhu. In theory, she shouldn't meddle in her family's affairs. However, Mulan had brought Mu Hin to the family Zhu. In the family Zhu's eyes, they had raised an outsider for nothing. Mulan understood Mrs. Zhu's meaning, so she explained, "Mother, my sister didn't come here to eat for free. She helped me every day. During this period, she helped Yun-er's breakfast stall and was paid. The money she earned was enough to pay for her living expenses." Mrs. Zhu didn't listen to Mulan's words. "You are such an unfilial daughter-in-law. Your old family Zhu has 8 generations of bad luck. You don't even care about your mother-in-law's life and death." Chapter 1304. Zhu Dainio hurriedly continued to nag in Mulan's ear. Mulan's brows knitted together in displeasure. Her older brother was really too interesting. He was reluctant to fork out his own money and pushed the blame to her. His words were so pleasant to hear. He was obviously treating her like a fool. She wasn't really a fool. If this had happened in the past, Mulan might not have dared to say anything. Now that he was following behind Zhao Yun, he had learned not to be taken advantage of. This time, Mulan replied somewhat unyieldingly. "Eldest brother, we borrowed money from Yun to build our house. Now we owe her dozens of taels of silver. Are you sure your family is poorer than mine? Not only do I have no money now, but I also owe a lot of money. At the very least, you don't owe anyone money, right? In comparison, you do have more money than me. So you have to take care of our mother's life first. You're the eldest son, the biological son. Your business is bigger than mine." When Mulan said this, Zhu Dainyu was immediately stumped and didn't know what to say. However, Zhu Dainyu couldn't bear to fork out the money, so he stubbornly said to Mulan, "Since your family can borrow dozens of taels of silver to build a house, why don't you continue to borrow more money to treat third brother's illness?" Mrs. Zhu followed behind Zhu Dainyu and agreed, "That's right, second daughter-in-law. If you have the ability to borrow money, why don't you borrow more to treat your third brother's illness?" Mulan's mouth twitched. She had never met such a shameless person. She actually dared to say such things. If she borrowed money from Zhao Yun, to treat Zhu Sanlu's illness, she would definitely have to repay the money that she borrowed from Zhao Yun. The rest of the family Zhu definitely had no intention of helping her repay the money. Wouldn't it be equivalent to her paying for Zhu Sanlu's treatment? As expected, she was still too thin-skinned in front of them. Mulan was so angry that she wanted to curse. In the end, she calmed down and thought about it. She said to Zhu Dainyu and Mrs. Zhu, "Big brother, it's easy for you to say that. I've already seen dozens of taels of silver. How can I have the nerve to go and borrow more? If you want to borrow it, why don't you go, big brother?" Zhu Dainyu originally had an abacus in his heart. Now that Mulan said this, how could he continue with his wishful thinking? She pursed her lips and said to Mulan, "How can I borrow it? I'm not familiar with Zhao Yun. Even if I go over, she won't lend it to me. Second sister-in-law, you're familiar with Zhao Yun. As long as you ask, she won't refuse to lend it to you." Zhao Yun was speechless as she listened to the conversation. The Zhu family's top-notch goods were usually harder to find. It was obvious that they were ganging up to bully Mulan's family. As the saying went, kind people were bullied and kind horses were ridden. Sometimes one shouldn't be too nice. Otherwise, women would think that they were easy to bully. This was Mulan's family matter. As an outsider, Zhao Yuner couldn't interfere too much. She waited to see how Mulan would deal with it. Mulan sneered, "Big brother, you have a great idea. You said that you don't have the money. If you really want to treat third brother, why don't you sell the family's 1 mu of land? Then you'll have the money. Why should I borrow it?" Chapter 1305. Zhu Dainyu's face instantly turned red when he heard Mulan's words. After all, he knew that he was in the wrong. He wanted to argue with Mulan, but he couldn't. Zhao Yun couldn't help but want to give Mulan a thumbs up. She was really good. She should have said that. There was no need to save any face for a weirdo like the family Zhu. Zhu Dainyu didn't say anything, but Mrs. Zhu started to make a fuss. "Second daughter-in-law, you be asterisk he. You still want to sell our family Zhu's fields. These are the roots of our family Zhu's livelihood. How are we going to survive without the fields? It's fine if you don't bear to part with the money, but how could you say such things? Family Zhu married you for nothing. Mulan said to Mrs. Zhu with a straight face, Mother, I've already made myself very clear. Previously, when we separated from the family, third brother and eldest brother lived together. The fields were also handed over to eldest brother. My family didn't get any benefits. So, no matter what happened to third brother, he should look for eldest brother instead of us. If you really want me to be responsible for the money, why don't you transfer all of third brother's fields to me? My family will pay for third brother's treatment. After Mulan finished speaking, Mrs. Zhu's face darkened. How could he bear to hand over Zhu Sanlu's fields to Mulan? A mu of land was expensive. If Zhu Sanlu sold all of his fields, he would probably be able to get more than 10 taels of silver. And Zhu Sanlu's treatment didn't need more than 10 taels of silver. At most, he would only need a few taels of silver. She went to the godly doctor's village to inquire about the price. Because the godly doctor was from the countryside and wasn't a famous doctor in Yang City, the house visit fee wasn't expensive. The villagers basically didn't have much money. The godly doctor knew that, so he never asked for a high price. You black-hearted wife. My heir didn't say anything, but you said it. I'll ask heir to pay for it later. Mrs. Zhu replied unwillingly. Mulan snorted coldly, Mother, it doesn't matter who you tell. Anyway, my family has no money. Heir can't take it out either. When Mrs. Zhu heard this, her heart sank. She slapped her thigh and cried, I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to live anymore. I'll just kill myself. They were all heartless people. Old man, if you leave, my life will be miserable. The whole family only knows how to bully me. With that, Mrs. Zhu wanted to bang her head against the wall again. Originally, Mulan still cared about Mrs. Zhu. But now, she didn't want to talk to Mrs. Zhu at all. Because as long as they paid attention to Mrs. Zhu, the second branch would be at a disadvantage. Anyway, Zhu Daniu was there. If even her son didn't care about her, how could outsiders cast their eyes on her, their daughter-in-law, to blame? Sometimes, one had to be ruthless, especially in a situation like this where it was obvious that they would be at a disadvantage if they were soft-hearted. Second sister-in-law, are you really going to watch our mother die without doing anything? Zhu Daniu gulped as Mulan asked. Mulan replied, Big brother, are you going to watch our mother die without doing anything? Why don't you sell a mu of land and raise enough money to treat third brother's illness? That way we won't have to seek death. Zhu Daniu choked and didn't know how to reply. When did his second sister-in-law become so eloquent? She wasn't like this in the past. Chapter 1306. Zhu Sanlu walked over to Mrs. Zhu impatiently and said to Mrs. Zhu, Mother, why are you crying? Don't make a fuss. If it doesn't work, just sell me 1 mu of land to save me the trouble. Mrs. Zhu stopped crying and blinked at Zhu Sanlu. Lu, that's the capital for your future wife. If you sell the land, how will you and your wife live in the future? If you don't have land to plant, you won't have food to eat. You'll starve to death. Mrs. Zhu loved her youngest son dearly. She was afraid that Zhu Sanlu wouldn't have a good life in the future, so she started to scheme for Zhu Sanlu. Zhu Sanlu replied indifferently, Mother, that's a matter for the future. We'll talk about it later. The most important thing now is to cure my manhood. Otherwise, without it, how can I get a wife? I'm afraid I'll be single for the rest of my life. Mrs. Zhu thought about Zhu Sanlu's words. That was indeed the case. If Zhu Sanlu's manhood couldn't be cured, he would be equivalent to a cripple in the future. Even if he got a wife, he wouldn't be able to carry on the family line. Wouldn't that be tantamount to being boring? The most important thing now was to cure Zhu Sanlu. All right then. Later, I'll ask your eldest brother to help you find the person who bought the land and sell 1 mu of land to treat your illness. Mrs. Zhu responded. Seeing that Mrs. Zhu had thought it through and stopped tormenting him, Zhu Daniu finally breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. He followed Mrs. Zhu and said, Mother, I'll help you ask later. Mrs. Zhu snorted and glanced at Zhu Daniu unhappily. In the end, it's because of your good wife. If she hadn't lost the 5 taels of silver, would our family be able to buy Lu Er's land now? Zhu Daniu's expression was also ugly. Thinking of this, Zhu Dainiu became angry. His unhappy gaze fell on Mrs. Qi. Mrs. Qi felt very uncomfortable when Zhu Dainiu looked at her like this. She replied weakly, I didn't think of it. It's been a few days and this barren mountain hasn't been sold yet. I think you want to keep this thing to eat? Zhu Dainiu scolded Mrs. Qi angrily. Dainiu, I'm also anxious, but I can't find anyone to buy it. Didn't you say that Zhao Yuna wants it? Hurry and ask her if she still wants it. We have to sell it. Otherwise, we won't get a farts. After Zhu Dainiu finished speaking, he didn't forget to add, if you can't get me some money, I'll really rent you out. Let's see if you,'s life. Madame Qi responded weakly and looked at Zhao Yun. She really had no choice but to beg Zhao Yun, because she really didn't want to be rented out to give birth to another man's child and become his wife. Generally, men who gave birth to women couldn't marry a wife. They were either too ugly or too poor. They could only rent a woman back to give birth to a child to carry on the family line. If she really went over, then her life would be miserable. Thinking about her future life, she had to beg Zhao Yun, or no matter what, even if her heart was full of unwillingness. At this time, Zhao Yun was still in the family Zhu's courtyard, talking to Mulan. It was nothing more than praise for Mulan. Chapter 1307. Before she could say a few words to Mulan, she saw Madame Qi walking towards her. Zhao raised her head, the corners of her mouth evoked a cold smile. Madame Qi stopped in front of Zhao Yun and smiled at Zhao Yun. Madame Qi's sudden show of goodwill, Zhao Yun knew that it must be because of something. She sneered and asked, Sister-in-law, do you have something to say? Madame Qi asked in a fawning manner, Yun, do you still want to buy that barren mountain? Zhao Yun knew what Madame Qi meant. She shook her head and replied, Didn't I say already? I don't need it anymore. Madame Qi suddenly became anxious. Yun, didn't you want it before? Why do you suddenly not want it now? Do you think that the price I quoted is too high? How about this? We can discuss the price as long as you're willing to buy it. Madame Qi wouldn't have said this before. Now that she was forced into a corner, she could only say this to Zhao Yun, because if she didn't sell the barren mountain, she would suffer in the future. Price? Then tell me yourself, how much are you going to give up? Zhao Yun hooked up the corner of her mouth and asked. This. Madame Qi's eyes turned. She had to think of a compromise price. She wouldn't suffer too much loss, and her daughter was willing to buy it. Yun, how about this? I'll transfer 4 taels of silver to you. I'll lose 1 tael, and you'll save 1 tael of silver compared to buying it directly from there. If Zhao Yun didn't accept it, it could only be said that Zhao Yun was too greedy. To Madame Qi's disappointment, Zhao Yun really didn't say a word. Madame Qi became even more anxious. Zhao Yun 4 taels of silver is already very low. Don't tell me you still want more? I can't give you the entire barren mountain, right? Zhao Yun's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness as she faintly spat out 2 words, 2 taels. What? Madame Qi's eyes widened, as if she didn't understand what Zhao Yun said. Zhao Yun explained, Don't you understand? What I mean is, if you want to sell it to me, I will only give you 2 taels of silver. Madame Qi opened her mouth and was a little angry. How could she be like this? Wasn't this clearly bullying and taking advantage of her? Zhao Yun chopped off more than half of the 5 taels of silver worth of goods. How big of a loss did their family have to suffer? Zhao Yun, isn't 2 taels of silver too little? I spent 5 taels of silver to buy it. Even if you go to Li Zhang's place, I'm afraid you won't be able to buy a place for 2 taels of silver. Madame Qi frowned and said to Zhao Yun, What Madame Qi said was the truth. Not only could they not buy it, even finding a mountain to grow tea leaves was more difficult. After all, some places were remote, or on the higher side, or because of the direction of the terrain, they were not suitable. Those places required time, energy, and money to develop, so it was more difficult. Instead, the barren mountain in Madame Qi's hands was the most suitable. If it wasn't because of this, Zhao Yun wouldn't have spent this time to deal with Madame Qi. With her character, She wouldn't have bought it if Madam Qi did such a thing. If you're not selling it for 2 taels, then forget it. We have nothing to discuss. Zhao Yun directly opened her mouth and said to Qi Shi. Madam Qi's face was bitter as she looked at Zhao Yun. Yun, 2 taels of silver is really too little. Why don't you add a little more? If you add a little more, I'll sell it to you. 2 taels of silver, I can't add any more. Chapter 1308. Zhao Yun sneered. When she saw Madam Qi's distressed expression, she felt happy. Madam Qi originally planned to get money from her, but she probably didn't expect that she would suffer a double loss. How delightful! She had to let these greedy people suffer. Otherwise, these people would still be like this next time. Forget it, forget it. Since you don't want to sell it for 2 taels and 5 taels, I don't want this barren mountain anymore. Zhao Yun waved her hand, looking like she didn't want to continue the discussion. Madam Qi bit her lower lip. Zhao Yun didn't want to buy it. She was afraid that if she transferred the 2 taels of silver to someone else, they wouldn't want it. After all, who wouldn't buy a barren mountain for no reason? She spent money and couldn't take care of it, so she couldn't grow food. She didn't know why Zhao Yun wanted to buy a barren mountain. Otherwise, she could learn from Zhao Yun and make something out of it. Yun, you also know that the things I bought with 5 taels of silver were cut in half. It's really too much. We're all honest people, so we can't take advantage of you too much. If you really want to buy it, I'll give you 3 taels. Is that okay? Zhao Yun's eyes turned. 3 taels was really too little. This Madam Qi saved her 2 taels of silver in one go. Zhao Yun couldn't help but feel a little comfortable. However, she pretended to be in a difficult position. Sister-in-law, actually, I don't have much use for this barren mountain. It's dispensable. 3 taels of silver is a good thing. Yes. You know you're right. But I did spend 5 taels of silver to buy this barren mountain. You know, the price I paid was enough. You bought it so you made a profit. All right then. 3 taels it is. This is because I'm giving face to sister-in-law Mulan. Otherwise, no matter how much you beg me, I won't buy it. Madam Qi smiled embarrassedly. Obviously, her heart was bleeding and she wanted to curse. But in front of Zhao Yun, she still had to smile and follow behind Zhao Yun to agree. Yes. Yun, I'll remember it. Later, give me 3 taels of silver and I will let you have the title deed. You just have to let Lord Li Zheng handle the procedures. Zhao Yun responded faintly. Thinking that Madam Qi had lost 2 taels of silver at once, Zhao Yun felt very happy. It wasn't easy for them to sell the barren mountain. Although they had lost a lot of money, Madam Qi finally felt relieved. After Zhao Yun finished talking, Madam Qi turned to Zhu Dainiu and explained to Zhu Dainiu. Zhu Dainiu still scolded Madam Qi. It's all because of you, stinky woman. You made me lose 2 taels of silver at once. Later, if you don't earn back those 2 taels of silver for me, you'll get it. Madam Qi curled her lips in grievance and said to Zhu Dainiu. Dainiu, how can I have the ability to earn money? The child is still young. I have to take care of the child, cook and do housework. I can't find the time. Zhu Dainiu snorted coldly. Why can't you do it? Could it be that second sister-in-law has to do less work and take care of less children than you? How come she can earn money but you can't? Speaking of this, Zhu Dainiu felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He was somewhat envious of his second brother, Zhu Ert. Chapter 1309. Now his second brother's family could live in a big house, but he still had to stay in a small thatched hut. When the villagers talked about the 2 brothers, they would definitely say that his second brother was more capable than him. How could he be balanced in his heart? Madam Qi curled her lips in grievance and said, Xiao Er's father, second sister-in-law is second sister-in-law. I'm not as capable as second sister-in-law. Aren't most women in the village the same? How can I make money? Madam Qi's words only sounded like an excuse to Zhu Dainiu. After a cold snort, he continued to scold Madam Qi. Okay, don't give me so many excuses. If second sister-in-law can make money, you have to make money too. Madame Qi was very embarrassed and said to Zhu Dainiu, Dainiu, it's not as simple as you say. Second sister-in-law can make money because she followed Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun has the capital to do business, but I don't have any capital. Where can I make money? Zhu Dainiu glared at Madame Qi, thinking that this woman had so many excuses. It was fine that she didn't have the ability, but she made so many excuses in front of him. Second sister-in-law, you also made a lot of money without following Zhao Yun. In the end, it's all because you don't have the ability. Zhu Dainiu snorted softly, thought for a while, and said, Didn't second sister-in-law make that wicker basket and sell it to make money before? You should follow second sister-in-law and learn from her. Make some wicker baskets and sell them. Madame Qi continued to think of a way to refute Zhu Dainiu's words. Xiao father, you can't say that. I don't know how to weave. Second sister-in-law may not teach me how to weave. I'll talk to second sister-in-law. If second sister-in-law agrees, you have to learn from her. Madame Qi responded weakly and didn't dare to object. Zhu Dainiu walked up to Mulan and looked at Mulan ingratiatingly. Second sister-in-law, can you teach your weaving skills to your sister-in-law? Mulan was a little angry about what happened just now, so she didn't want to talk to Zhu Dainiu. However, Zhu Dainiu was thick-skinned and did not want to leave. Mulan continued, Second sister-in-law, don't be angry. Just teach your sister-in-law. Look at us. The people of the first branch don't have it easy. It was still okay before, but your sister-in-law lost so much money all of a sudden. If she doesn't earn some money, she probably won't be able to live on. There are old and young at home. After listening to Zhu Dainiu's complaints, Mulan's heart softened. She thought that teaching Madame Qi how to weave a wicker basket was nothing. If she taught Madame Qi how to weave a wicker basket, Madame Qi would have something to do every day. It would save Madame Qi the trouble of coming over and looking for trouble. Mulan said to Zhu Dainiu, Big brother, I can teach her, but I have to make it clear that weaving a wicker basket is not that easy. It's easy to hurt your hands. It's hard to make money by doing this. It was Madame Qi's hard work. It had nothing to do with Zhu Dainiu, so Zhu Dainiu said indifferently, It's okay. What kind of money is easy to make? That's fine. Mulan responded. Zhu Dainiu walked up to Madame Qi and greeted her. Second sister-in-law has agreed. You go back and learn. Be honest and diligent, or you'll be in trouble. Madame Qi pursed her lips. I know, Xiao's father. I will learn well. Chapter 1310. Seeing Zhu Dainiu's attitude towards Madame Qi, Zhao Yun could not help but sigh. A pitiful person must have a hateful side. Madame Qi was like this. People were hateful, but at the same time, they had a pitiful side. For example, Madame Qi was so miserable because of Zhu Dainiu. Zhu Dainiu did not seem to care at all. Since she was his wife, shouldn't he dote on her? Why did he treat Madame Qi like this? However, this was other people's business. Zhao Yun could not care so much. She just needed to deal with her own business. After leaving Mulan's house, they went to the mountain together to pick tea leaves. When they came back from picking tea leaves, a middle-aged man came to Zhao Yun's house. It turned out that the deputy county magistrate sent him to inform Zhao Yun. Many people in Yang City liked Zhao Yun's tea leaves very much, so many people wanted to order a batch. The deputy district magistrate thoughtfully gave a list of the people who needed tea and how much tea they needed. He asked someone to give it to Zhao Yun. This way, it would be very convenient for Zhao Yun to calculate. She could clearly know how many caddies of tea she needed. After the person who sent the message left, Zhao Yun opened the letter and calculated. The amount of tea leaves needed was too large. She had to prepare a total of 70 to 80 kilograms of tea leaves. At present, she only had 30 kilograms at most. She did not have so much tea leaves at all. However, she could not delay for too long. Otherwise, those customers would be dissatisfied. It seemed that these people who were hired to pick tea leaves in the mountain had to bring back more. Otherwise, in the current situation, the supply would not meet the demand. Zhao Yun thought about it. There were not many people in the village who could be trusted. It was not easy to find a few reliable people. If she randomly found a few people, she was afraid that she would be targeted. Zhao Yun frowned and thought about how to solve this problem. While Zhao Yun was thinking, Mu Lianfeng came back from the mountain. Zhao Yun smiled. Why are you back so early today? His Majesty is preparing to go back tomorrow. There's nothing else to do now. Zhao Yun heaved a sigh of relief and replied, It's good that he's fine. You're always a little uncomfortable with him here. Zhao Yun suddenly thought of what the emperor had said to a dark-skinned man on the mountain that day. She had forgotten to tell Mu Lianfeng. She hurriedly told Mu Lianfeng, there's something I forgot to tell you. Zhao Yun repeated what the emperor had said to the black man that day. When Mu Lianfeng heard this, he frowned. After thinking for a while, he understood. So that's how it is. In the end, he was still suspicious of me. Mu Lianfeng's tone was a little disappointed. He was diligent and loyal to the emperor. Could it be that the emperor was suspicious of him because of a few words from others? Or it could be said that the emperor did not trust anyone. As an emperor, he was too suspicious. This was not a good thing. Zhao Yun comforted him. You don't have any ulterior motives. I believe that he can see through it. It's fine. Mu Lianfeng nodded. Even if there was a problem, there was nothing he could do. He could only prove his innocence through his own actions. As long as the emperor did not make things difficult for him and Zhao Yun on the marriage. Zhao Yun and Mu Lianfeng went to rest early. Chapter 1311. The food and vegetables that were previously prepared at home were almost finished. She had to cook some fresh things for Daodu and Mu Lianfeng. Zhao Yun felt that her Xiao Mao was very excited on the way to town. For a while, Zhao Yun didn't bring Xiao Mao out for a stroll. Xiao Mao probably felt that it wasn't of any use, so it couldn't hold back when it was at home. Seeing that Xiao Mao was running like a gust of wind, Zhao Yun couldn't help but exhort Xiao Mao. Xiao Mao, slow down. Don't be anxious. We're not in a hurry to go to town. There's plenty of time. However, Xiao Mao didn't seem to understand Zhao Yun's words and continued to run forward with all its might. Zhao Yun felt a little helpless and could only let Xiao Mao run. She reckoned that Xiao Mao was like this because it hadn't been strolling for a long time. Soon, she saw Xiao Mao catch up with the carriage in front of them. When the carriage driver saw that Zhao Yun's donkey carriage was running faster than him, there was a trace of shock in his eyes. How was this possible? Could it be that his eyes were playing tricks on him? The carriage driver rubbed his eyes. He didn't see it wrongly. It was a donkey. The carriage driver couldn't help but scream. A donkey spirit, a donkey spirit, it was definitely a donkey spirit. Otherwise, how could a little donkey run faster than a horse? After hearing the carriage driver's scream, Zhao Yun turned around, wondering what was going on. The emperor, who was in the carriage, also stuck his head out. The emperor asked in a somewhat cold voice, "What happened?" The carriage driver hurriedly restrained the shock in his eyes and appeared to be a little calmer. He pointed at Zhao Yun's little donkey and said to the emperor, "I saw a spirit. Young master, quickly hide in the carriage and don't come out." The emperor's brows immediately wrinkled. He looked in the direction the carriage driver pointed and actually saw Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun also saw the emperor. What a coincidence! They actually bumped into each other on the way. The emperor reprimanded the coachman. "Demon, tell me, who is the demon? That woman was fine, so why did she suddenly say that?" The coachman hurriedly explained, "Young master, you've misunderstood. I'm not talking about that woman, I'm talking about that donkey. Look, where can you see a donkey that runs faster than a horse? Bush, bush, bush." It was like a gust of wind when it ran. If it wasn't a spirit, then what was it? In my opinion, he is a donkey demon. That woman raised a donkey spirit. I don't think she's a simple character. The corners of the emperor's mouth twitched. He didn't know what to say. Then he turned his attention to Zhao Yun or Xiao Mao. However, he agreed with the coachman's last sentence. Zhao Yun was indeed not a simple woman. She was the most special woman he had ever seen. As for Zhao Yun's donkey demon, it was indeed very fast. He had seen many rare treasures over the years, but he had never seen such a donkey. Thus, he replied to the coachman, "It's indeed not simple. But a spirit shouldn't be." The emperor was very clear in his heart. Although Zhao Yun was different, she was still a normal person in the end. Zhao Yun hurriedly pulled Xiao Mao and said to Xiao Mao, "Xiao Mao, wait. I met an acquaintance. Say hello to him." Chapter 13:12. The emperor greeted Zhao Yuner. "Yuna, what a coincidence." Zhao Yuner nodded. "Yes, what a coincidence. Is young Master Huang going back today as well?" "Sit. Are you going to the county magistrate's residence or going home?" Zhao Yuner asked. "I'm going to the county magistrate's residence first to bid farewell to the county magistrate before going home." Zhao Yuner was silent for a moment. Since young Master Huang said he was going home, he was probably going back to the palace. She didn't know if he was going to deal with Mu Lianfeng's betrothal. Zhao Yuner smiled and said to young Master Huang, "I'm also going to the county magistrate's residence. If I had known earlier, I would have accompanied young Master Huang. At least, I have someone to talk to on the way and I won't be too lonely." Zhao Yuner was just being polite. After all, she had to maintain a good relationship with young Master Huang. If she wanted to be with Mu Lianfeng in the future, she might have to rely on the emperor. The emperor chuckled and said, "If I knew that Miss Yuna was going to the county magistrate's residence today, I would naturally accompany Miss Yuna. But since we met on the way, it's a coincidence. The two of us can accompany each other and chat for the rest of the journey." As the emperor spoke, he got down from the carriage and directly sat on Zhao Yuner's donkey cart. Zhao Yuner was slightly stunned. She couldn't help but ask the emperor, "Your Majesty, are you sure this is okay?" "Miss Yuner, what do you think is wrong?" Zhao Yuner swallowed her saliva. The emperor was the emperor. He was second only to one person and above thousands of people. With such a noble status, how could he sit in a donkey cart? At least, he should sit in a carriage, right? "Yes, my family's donkey cart is too simple and crude. It's more comfortable for you to sit in a carriage. Otherwise, the journey might be a little bumpy and your butt will hurt." Zhao Yuner spoke out her worries. The emperor didn't mind and came back. "So what? Since Miss Yuner can sit here, I can sit here too." Zhao Yuner replied helplessly. All right. Since she wanted to sit, he didn't think much of it, so he couldn't stop her. Thus, she allowed the emperor to continue sitting on her donkey cart. The emperor's lips curled up slightly as he joked with Zhao Yuna. "This young master feels that Miss Yuner's donkey is very special. I don't know how it feels to sit on it, so I came over to give it a try." Xiao Mao seemed to understand the emperor's words and proudly raised its neck. If he was a human, he would definitely tell the emperor that it was a given. At least he had good taste. Otherwise, he wouldn't be willing to pull a stranger. The coachman sighed. "Young master is right. I've traveled extensively for so many years, but I've never seen such a special donkey." Zhao Yuner pursed her lips. What could she say? She couldn't explain it either. Her family's Xiao Mao was so amazing that she didn't even understand it herself. She laughed embarrassedly. "Yes, my family's donkey is indeed a little special, but it's nothing much. There are many strange things in this world." The emperor thought about it and felt that it was true. There were many things that people had never seen before. The world was so big that there were all kinds of strange things. He was a knowledgeable person, so he wasn't too shocked by Zhao Yuner's donkey. Zhao Yuner called out to the emperor, "Young Master Huang, sit tight. We have to set off." But Chapter 13:13. Zhao Yuner was afraid that the donkey cart would be too bumpy, so she warned Xiao Mao, "Xiao Mao, don't be anxious. Let's take it slow." However, Xiao Mao acted as if it didn't understand Zhao Yuner's words. It continued to run with all its might, but it wanted to show off its uniqueness in front of the emperor. If Zhao Yuner knew what Xiao Mao was thinking, she would probably be angered half to death by Xiao Mao. Zhao Yuner's donkey cart didn't have a soft mattress, so her buttocks had to sit on the hard cart. After a bumpy day, it hurt a lot. Zhao Yuner herself couldn't stand it, let alone the emperor, who lived like a prince. Presumably, he hadn't been treated like this for so many years. She looked at the emperor with some embarrassment and said, "Young Master Huang, I don't know if you're feeling too uncomfortable. Why don't you get down first and wait for your carriage behind?" The emperor frowned slightly. His buttocks were indeed feeling uncomfortable, but if he got down, wouldn't he lose face? Zhao Yun'er, a woman, could endure such a bumpy ride. As a man, he couldn't be too delicate. So when Zhao Yun'er came back, she said, "No need. Miss Yun'er, I'll take your donkey cart. It's actually quite good." Without a carriage, he could enjoy the scenery of the fields. The morning breeze blew on his face and it was very comfortable. Moreover, there was a faint smell of soil and fragrant grass in the breeze. He didn't notice it before, but now he suddenly realized that this feeling and scenery were quite good. Thinking about the high walls and courtyards in the imperial palace, how could it be as comfortable as the countryside? If it wasn't for his identity as well as the responsibility and ambition he had to bear, he felt that an ordinary life would be quite good. If he married a wife as virtuous and sensible as Zhao Yun'er, his family would probably be able to live a peaceful and beautiful life. Unfortunately, these were just his own thoughts and couldn't be realized. Zhao Yun'er responded hypocritically, but there was still some worry in her eyes when she looked at the emperor. She was afraid that by the time they arrived at the county magistrate's manor, the emperor's buttocks had already bloomed. The two people chatted casually on the road. The emperor was very curious about everything about Zhao Yun'er. He asked some questions with a hint of probing. The more he knew about Zhao Yun'er, the more he felt that this woman was not simple. She was not like a normal countrywoman at all. If she hadn't inquired about Zhao Yun'er in the village, it was inevitable that she would have some doubts about her identity. After a long journey, they finally arrived at the county magistrate's residence. The emperor prepared to get down from Zhao Yun'er's donkey cart, but sadly found that his butt seemed to be unable to move. If he moved, it would hurt terribly. "Young Master Huang, what's wrong?" Zhao Yun'er asked worriedly. The emperor looked at Zhao Yun'er awkwardly. What could he say? He couldn't possibly tell Zhao Yun'er that his butt hurt, right? He couldn't help but blush. In all these years, he had never done something so embarrassing and shameful. If this spread out and was known by others, where would he put his face? Zhao Yun'er saw that there was something wrong with the emperor's expression, so she almost guessed what was going on. "Young Master Huang, do you want me to help you, or you can sit down and rest for a while?" "I'll rest for a while." "Okay, then I'll wait outside with you. We'll go in together later." Zhao Yun'er went back to the donkey cart. Chapter 13-14. Zhao Yun'er looked at the emperor in confusion. Wouldn't it be better for him to accompany him? Otherwise, wouldn't it be awkward for him to sit outside alone? Would it be strange? "Miss Yun'er, I can do it alone," young Master Huang insisted. Zhao Yun'er had no choice but to agree. "All right then, I'll go in alone. I'll come out in a while." She didn't want to stay in the deputy's house for long. She had to go back quickly and continue to pick tea leaves. But after seeing Zhao Yun'er's body enter the county magistrate mansion, the emperor hurriedly stood up and rubbed his painful buttocks. He suddenly felt the pain dissipate a little. Sometimes, people shouldn't court death, or they would be the one to suffer. Zhao Yun'er gave the tea leaves she brought to the deputy. She would try her best to send the rest. As for the money, the delivery person had already given it to the deputy, and the deputy directly gave it to Zhao Yun'er. With more than 10 taels of silver, Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but feel excited. It was much easier than the money she earned from the morning tea stall. He thought that once he filled the barren hills with tea trees and obtained more tea leaves, he would be able to earn even more money. After saying that she had something to do, the deputy's wife didn't ask Zhao Yun'er to stay. She let Zhao Yun'er go back. After leaving the deputy's house, Zhao Yun'er saw that the emperor had gotten out of the carriage. He was standing beside her Xiaomao and muttering something. She didn't know what he was saying to Xiaomao. Seeing Zhao Yun'er coming over, the emperor quickly shut up. "Young Master Huang, are you feeling better?" "Much better. I'm fine now." You can go in. I'll go back first." "Okay." The emperor withdrew his sight from Zhao Yun. Don't know what he was thinking. He stood in the same place for a while, then turned and entered the county deputy manor. Zhao Yuna hurried to the market and bought everything she needed. When they went to the market, they happened to meet Zhao Ping and Ma Xiaofeng. The two of them seemed to be looking for a stall and wanted to rent a stall to do business. Zhao Yuna was puzzled. Could it be that these two sluts wanted to learn from her? The truth was similar to what Zhao Yuna had expected. Zhao Ping and Ma Xiaofeng came here to do business. In the past 2 days, Zhao Ping had searched around Yang City and roughly confirmed a few houses. She felt that it was okay to rent them. However, Zhao Ping still didn't know much about these things. She felt that Ma Xiaofeng was more reliable than her, so she brought Ma Xiaofeng over to take a look. If Ma Xiaofeng said it was okay, then it was okay. Moreover, Ma Xiaofeng's ability to negotiate prices was definitely better than her. He followed Ma Xiaofeng and listened to Ma Xiaofeng's arrangements. The two of them went to a stall in the market and asked about the price. This stall was originally for someone else to do business. If it wasn't for the breakfast business, then it would have been for the breakfast business. Now that the stall wanted to be sold, it hung a sign saying, "For sale." Ma Xiaofeng and Zhao Ping went to find it because of this. "Auntie, how much do you need to rent this stall a year?" Ma Xiaofeng asked a woman who looked to be in her early 30s. This woman was very fat. Her body was full of fat and she looked very fierce standing there. However, she should be from a good family. She dressed gorgeously. The cloth of her clothes was not bad and she wore silver jewelry. In the eyes of the villagers, this was a very rich family. Chapter 13-15. She replied to Ma Xiaofeng unhappily, Auntie, who are you calling? Where's Auntie? Are you blind?" She was only 27 or 28 years old and looked a little old. What she hated the most was hearing people call her Auntie. Ma Xiaofeng looked 16 or 17 years old, but she was only 10 years older than this girl. How could it be appropriate for her to start calling her Auntie? Ma Xiaofeng was momentarily stunned. She did not understand why the fat woman was angry. Ma Xiaofeng stuttered. When she met the fat woman's fierce eyes, she did not know what to say for a moment. "Little girl, next time look carefully. Don't just call everyone Auntie. It's more appropriate to call her big sister." Ma Xiaofeng rolled her eyes in her heart. Only then did she understand why the fat woman was angry. Although Ma Xiaofeng was also somewhat uncomfortable in her heart, in order to rent the stall, Ma Xiaofeng suppressed the anger in her heart. Instead, she smiled and said to the fat woman, "Big sister, may I ask, how much does it cost to rent this stall a year?" The fat woman's mood improved a little. She faintly replied to Ma Xiaofeng, "The first year you take over the stall will be 8 taels of silver. After that it will be 1 tael of silver every year. Do you want to rent it?" When Ma Xiaofeng heard the fat woman's price, she felt that it was a little expensive. However, this stall's market was not bad. There were many people coming and going, so it was convenient to buy things. If she could rent it, the business would not be too bad. Ma Xiaofeng haggled with the fat woman, "Big sister, I want to rent this stall. But your stall seems to be a little expensive. Can you give us a cheaper price?" The fat woman glared at Ma Xiaofeng. She seemed very unhappy. "Then how cheap do you want it to be? You can go to other stalls and ask around. How many stalls are in a good market that is cheaper than mine?" Ma Xiaofeng twitched the corner of her mouth and replied with a smile, "Big sister, it's our first time doing business. It's not easy. Why don't you give us a friendship price and make it cheaper?" Ma Xiaofeng's tone was completely negotiating. The fat woman replied in a bad mood, "If you don't want to rent it, then don't rent it. Hurry and get lost. How can you do business if you don't have money?" Ma Xiaofeng was stunned. She did not expect the fat woman to have such a bad temper. When Zhao Pinger heard this, she wasn't happy. She started arguing with the fat woman. "How can there be people like you? Business talk, business talk, business talk. Why are you scolding people?" The fat woman put her hands on her waist and started to argue with Zhao Pinger. "Who is scolding? Did I say I wrong? You want to rent a stall when you don't have the money? I've already lowered the price to the lowest. You're shameless enough to want to lower the price. Zhao Ping'er stared at the fat woman angrily. This woman was too arrogant. How can there be people like you? Aren't we negotiating the price in a friendly manner? I'm not forcing you to lower the price. You can just not rent it. Why are you scolding people? The fat woman sneered. I'm scolding people. So what? You are standing in front of my stall. I can scold you. Zhao Ping'er wanted to rush up and slap the fat woman. However, the fat woman was tall and burly. Even Zhao Ping'er could not beat her. If they really fought, she would be at a disadvantage. Forget it, big sister Ping'er. Let's go to other stalls and ask. Ma Xiaofeng pulled Zhao Ping. Chapter 13:16. She nodded and said, Okay, Xiaofeng, let's rent from other stalls. There are so many stalls, it's not like she's the only one. With her attitude, it's no wonder that her stall hasn't been rented out yet. I don't think anyone will rent from her. Ma Xiaofeng also agreed. Although the price of this fat woman's stall was suitable, she wasn't a good person. Who knew if other things would happen after her stall was rented? This kind of person was rare, so it was better to deal with them. The two of them then went to the other stalls to ask for more information. Basically, the prices they offered were higher than the fat woman's stall, and some of them were not very good. After running for a while, the two of them were a little tired and took a deep breath. Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng sighed and said, Xiaofeng, it seems that doing business isn't easy. Of course, what's easy to do? Look at the men in our village. They work so hard in the fields, but they only earn so much money in a year. It's not as good as us who do business. We can earn more. Xiaofeng, you're right. As long as we can earn money, it's worth it to work hard. Sister Ping'er, let's go to a few more stalls. If there's no better one, let's go and book that old woman's stall. Okay. The two of them continued to run around and settled on a stall. The rent for this stall was 5 taels of silver for the first year, and 5 taels of silver for the next year. It was considered relatively low. Moreover, the market price wasn't too bad. It was above average. Zhao Ping and Ma Xiaofeng were quite satisfied. The two of them couldn't wait to set up their stall and earn money as soon as possible. Only when they had money in their hands would they be happiest. Moreover, these few days, the family Qin people had been urging Zhao Ping'er to bring some money back. The family Qin people were used to living a hard life. When Zhao Ping'er said that they could earn money, it gave the family Qin hope. The family Qin people were thinking about money and living a good life these days. As for Qin Yuan's illness, it had improved a lot during this period. Basically, it was no longer a big deal. At the end of the day, it was all because his heart had been resolved. However, Zhao Ping'er felt sorry for Qin Yuan. She also wanted to earn more money to buy a lot of delicious food for Qin Yuan to nourish his body. Xiaofeng, let's go and buy some more tables and chairs. When the tables and chairs are bought, we can set up a stall to make money. Ma Xiaofeng nodded heavily and replied, Sister Ping'er, we'll have a good life once we make money. Ma Xiaofeng now thought it through. If she couldn't be with Zhao Tianan, she could earn money and live a good life. She didn't have to rely on men. The more they talked, the more excited they became as they walked down the street. After Zhao Yun figured out what the two of them were doing, her eyes couldn't help but flash a trace of sharpness. These 2B* cheese are really interesting. Zhao Ping'er actually wanted to imitate her and sell breakfast. She was said to be stupid, but sometimes she was very smart. She actually knew how to imitate her. Zhao Yun didn't want the B*TCH to use her to make money, and her heart felt uncomfortable. However, she couldn't stop them from setting up a stall. She couldn't possibly smash the stall, right? Feeling a little uncomfortable, she went back. When she arrived at the village, it was only 10 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't very late. Zhao Yun went to old Zhao's house and sent the ingredients she bought over. She was going to cook something delicious for lunch. There wasn't much meat in their meals these days because they didn't buy meat on the streets. They just made do casually. Chapter 13:17. When Zhao Yun arrived at old Zhao's house, she saw a carriage parked in the courtyard of old Zhao's house. She thought that some important person had come, but she did not expect that it was Zhao Xinhui who had come back to visit her parents. Under normal circumstances in the countryside, a daughter would visit her parents on the second or third day. However, Zhao Xinhui did not know how many days had passed since she came back. Zhao Yun guessed that Zhao Xinhui was too lazy to come back. After all, life in the Meng residence was much more comfortable than in old Zhao's house. When Zhao Xinhui came back, she was wearing a purplish-red silk dress. She wore all kinds of jewelry on her neck, hands, and head. She looked like a nouveau riche. When Zhao Yun saw Zhao Xinhui's dressing, she could not help but want to complain. This Zhao Xinhui looked like a nouveau riche. People were like this. The more ordinary they were, the more they wanted to show off. Those real madams and misses did not need to dress like Zhao Xinhui. When Zhao Xinhui came back, she brought a lot of good things. Old Zhao's first branch and second branch could not help but go forward to curry favor with Zhao Xinhui, as if they wanted to get some benefits from her. You're finally back. Mother missed you so much. Hu Chunhua held Zhao Xinhui's hand and could not help but mutter. What are you thinking about, mother? I've only been away for a few days. Zhao Xinhui replied indifferently. Hu Chunhua nagged. You're a piece of flesh that fell off from mother. Mother missed you so much even if you were away for a few days. All right, mother, let's not talk about this anymore. There's no use in missing me. How are you doing after marrying young Master Meng? Hu Chunhua asked with concern. She was most worried about this matter. After all, as a mother, she missed her daughter dearly. She was afraid that her daughter would be wronged after getting married. Good, of course it's good. Mother, my husband's family is rich. He eats and drinks good food every day, wears beautiful clothes, and has beautiful jewelry. Mother, look at my appearance. How can ordinary people have it? If I knew that I could have such a good life after getting married, I would have wanted to get married earlier. Zhao Xinhui was not afraid of losing face and said directly. Hu Chunhua nodded in satisfaction. It's good that you're living well. Indeed, if you were to marry a country bumpkin, how could you have a good life? In the end, it's my Hui-er's good fortune. He has received the blessings of the heavens. Of course, I've always been a lucky person. Zhao Xinhui replied with a proud smile. By the way, young Master Meng, don't you have other wives and concubines at home? How does your wife treat you? After all, the older ones could not tolerate the younger ones. After Zhao Xinhui married into the family, who knew if the wife of the Meng family would make things difficult for Zhao Xinhui? Speaking of this, Zhao Xinhui snorted and said, How could that old woman make things difficult for me? It's good enough that I didn't marry him. Mother, don't worry. My husband dotes on me now. He doesn't even care about those old women. He's probably tired of playing with them. Perhaps after some time, my husband will divorce them and let me become the official wife. Hu Chunhua was immediately happy when she heard this. A wife and a concubine were very different. A wife of a rich family would be respected. The villagers did not say it openly, but secretly, they were talking about Zhao Xinhui as a concubine. Hu Chunhua directly thought that these people were jealous of her family and did not take it to heart. Chapter 13:18. Hu Chunhua nodded and said with a smile, Good. You have to work hard and become the official wife. When the time comes, there will be many people who will be envious of our family. They will envy you. Mother, don't worry. I'm so young and beautiful. How can I lose to a few old women? They are chickens that can't lay eggs. When I give birth to a son for my husband, I will naturally become the official wife. Hu Chunhua became more and more excited. She held Zhao Xinhui's hand and said, Then your belly must work hard. You are still young, so it will definitely be easier for you to get pregnant than them. The heavens did not allow them to have children, so they are giving you a chance to become the official wife. I think it won't be long before you get pregnant. When Zhao Xinhui heard this, She blinked and looked at Hua Chunhua with excitement. Mother, is what you said true? Of course it's true. Believe me, if you take good care of your body now, you will get pregnant very soon. Sit. When Zhao Yun'er heard this, she felt that Zhao Xinhui was just a mistress. She had an ugly face. If Zhao Xinhui really became the official wife one day, her worldview would probably be refreshed again. Isn't little sister back? Li Chuang was holding a wooden basin in her hand. She must have come back from washing clothes outside. When she saw Zhao Xinhui, her eyes immediately lit up. When she saw Zhao Xinhui dressed in jewelry, she could not help but sigh and envy in her heart. She quickly flattered, "Tisk, tisidi. Who would recognize you if you didn't know? Little sister feels like she has changed into a different person. After getting married, you indeed look much better when you dress up. Look at the clothes you are wearing, you look like a young lady from a wealthy family." Although Zhao Xinhui did not like Li Chuang, people generally like to listen to others' praise. Therefore, Li Chuang's words were very effective on Zhao Xinhui. "Second sister-in-law, sit down. Let's chat. It's not easy for me to return home." How could Li Chuang refuse? He smiled and sat down beside Zhao Xinhui. While praising Zhao Xinhui, she also flattered Hua Chunhua. "Mother, only you have the good fortune to give birth to a woman like little sister. Who in our family can be like little sister? You didn't dote on little sister for nothing in the past. Little sister should be raised well because little sister is destined to be rich. That's right. Your little sister was different from other children when she was born. I already knew that she would be extraordinary in the future." Hua Chunhua snorted softly. "Mother, that means you have good foresight." Hua Chunhua felt very comfortable when she heard that. She thought that her second daughter-in-law was indeed better at speaking than the other daughters-in-law. Li Chuang glanced at Zhao Xinhui's jewelry and sighed. Not to mention other things, Zhao Xinhui was actually wearing 7 to 8 bracelets on one hand. There were gold, silver, jade-colored glaze. All of them were very beautiful and exquisite. Li Chuang stared at Zhao Xinhui's bracelets. After looking at them for a while, he said to Zhao Xinhui, "Little sister, you have so many bracelets. They are so beautiful. It's good enough for an ordinary person to have one. You have more than 10 bracelets on both hands, right?" Zhao Xinhui raised her hand and waved it. When she saw the bracelets on her hand, she was very satisfied and said proudly, "These were all given to me by my husband. There are many more at home. I only wear these out." Chapter 1319. Zhao Xinhui raised her chin and said, This is nothing. There are more and better things. Second sister-in-law, you haven't seen them before, so you don't know what good things are like in the city." Li Chuang smiled embarrassedly and followed behind Zhao Xinhui. Yes, Hui, you're right. You use a lot of things. Second sister-in-law is ignorant and doesn't know what good things are." Zhao Xinhui grunted in agreement. Li Chuang stared at Zhao Xinhui's bracelet again and looked at Zhao Xinhui ingratiatingly. "Little sister, your bracelets are so pretty. Can you take one of them off and let second sister-in-law have a closer look?" Zhao Xinhui was not stingy about this. She replied, "Of course." As she spoke, she took off a glazed bracelet and handed it to Li Chuang. Li Chuang touched it in his hand and looked at it with wide eyes. He sighed as he looked at it. "It's so pretty. Rich people's things are just different. It feels different just by looking at them." Zhao Xinhui glanced at Li Chuang and looked at Li Chuang as if he was a country bumpkin. She felt that Li Chuang was ignorant. Li Chuang held Zhao Xinhui's bracelet in his hand and couldn't bear to put it down. After touching it for a while, he smiled at Zhao Xinhui and said, "Little sister, can I hold your bracelet and try it on? It looks so pretty. Can I put it on and try it on?" Before Zhao Xinhui could say anything, Li Chuang retorted unhappily, "It's good enough that I'm letting you see it. You still want to wear it." After being scolded by Hua Chunhua, Li Chuang pursed his lips and was about to return the bracelet to Zhao Xinhui. However, he unexpectedly said to Zhao Xinhui, "Second sister-in-law, since you like it so much, I'll give it to you. It should look good on you." Zhao Xinhui was willing to give it away because she had too many things. It was nothing to give one away. Moreover, young Master Meng would continue to give it to her. Li Chuang's words were pleasing to the ears. She liked it, so it was fine to give one to her. She would treat it as a reward for flattering Li Chuang. Her second sister-in-law would definitely be more attentive to her in the future. Li Chuang, she thought that he had heard it. And he asked, "Little sister, are you joking? Are you really giving it to me? This is a treasure." Zhao Xinhui nodded in agreement. "Second sister-in-law, I said I'm giving it to you, so I'm giving it to you. Don't tell me I'm lying to you?" When Li Chuang heard this, he was overjoyed. He pulled Zhao Xinhui aside and praised her, "Little sister, you're so nice. Now that you're rich, you still take care of your brothers and sisters-in-law. The Zhao family is so lucky to have a girl like you." Zhao Xinhui was also very happy to be praised. He replied faintly to Li Chuang, "Of course, sister-in-law. We're family. Do you think I'm like some people who forget about our family when they're rich?" Zhao Xinhui was referring to Zhao Ping. When Zhao Ping was rich, she didn't care about old Zhao's family. She didn't care about old Zhao's family at all. She ate well and drank well, while old Zhao's family continued to live a hard life. Li Chuang smiled and replied, "Yes, yes, yes. Little sister, you're still different from the average person." Zhao Ping replied faintly, "Of course." When Feng Xianxia from the first branch saw that Li Chuang had gained some benefits, she had an idea. She wanted to go over and flatter Li Chuang to gain some benefits, but Shen Pan stopped her. Chapter 1320. Feng Xianxia looked at Shen Pan in confusion and asked, "Why?" "Mother, if she's trying to flatter you, you shouldn't follow her. If little aunt doesn't give you anything, won't you be embarrassed? I don't think that's good." Shen Pan frowned. In fact, what she couldn't stand the most was the greedy villagers who hoped to gain benefits from others. Zhao Xinhui gave her the feeling of a nouveau riche. She didn't like to see Zhao Xinhui acting all high and mighty and thinking that she was someone important. However, Feng Xianxia didn't mind and replied, "Pan, so what? I'm just saying a few words. If she doesn't give it to me, then forget it. If she does, then we'll benefit. I'm going." Seeing that she couldn't stop Feng Xianxia, Shen Pan could only let her go. Feng Xianxia also went to Zhao Xinhui and started to flatter her. "Oh, little sister is back. You're dressed up so well today. You look like a different person. Look at your clothes and jewelry. They're so beautiful." Zhao Xinhui was in a good mood as she responded. She gave the bracelet to her second sister-in-law, but she couldn't give it to her eldest sister-in-law. Thus, she took off a jade bracelet from her wrist and handed it to Feng Xianxia. Feng Xianxia didn't expect Zhao Xinhui to be so straightforward and was overjoyed. "Little sister, you're so nice. You're so generous." Li Chuang glanced at Feng Xianxia unhappily. She felt that Feng Xianxia was taking advantage of her. Her eldest sister-in-law liked to follow others. It was so disgusting. After receiving the bracelet, Feng Xianxia quickly put it in her arms and then said to Zhao Xinhui with a smile, "Little aunt, why don't you have lunch at my place? I'll go and cook something for you now." Li Chuang didn't want to be left behind and said, "Little sister, come to my place to eat. I'll cook something good for you too. It's rare for you to come back, so don't reject me." Second sister-in-law, we have a first come, first served rule. Since I said it first, little sister naturally has to eat at my place. I'll go to your place next time when I come back. Sister-in-law, it's my turn to cook first today. How long will little sister have to wait for your family to finish cooking?" Li Chuang and Feng Xianxia started arguing. Both of them wanted to drag Zhao Xinhui to their house to eat. It wasn't that the two of them treated Zhao Xinhui very well, but they knew that whoever ate with Zhao Xinhui would definitely be closer to that person. Then, he would be able to give benefits to that person. If he could give away such a precious bracelet so easily, who knew if he would have something even better? How much could a meal cost? The gifts given by Zhao Xinhui were the real treasures. Zhao Xinhui calmly replied to their argument, "Eldest sister-in-law, second sister-in-law, what are you arguing about? I'm not going to any of your houses. I'm leaving soon. Hearing that Zhao Xinhui was going to leave in a while, Huo Chunhua couldn't stay calm. She asked Zhao Xinhui, you just came back and you're leaving already? Zhao Xinhui made a sound of acknowledgement. Can't you have a meal before you leave? Huo Chunhua was a little reluctant. Her daughter was getting married and going to another family. She missed her dearly. No, there's nothing good to eat at home. The good food doesn't taste good. It can't compare to the Meng families. It's better for me to go back. There's a lot of good food there. Chapter 1321. Zhao Pinger snorted. Mother, how many years have you been looking at it? Haven't you seen enough? Most people would be sick of it. Ah, you child, which mother would be sick of looking at their own child? You'll understand when you have your own child. Zhao Xinhui pursed her lips. He couldn't understand. Other people were other people. Anyway, she hadn't given birth to a child yet. Feng Xianxia chimed in from the side. That's right, little sister. Let's make do with lunch at home. It's so rare for you to come back. As sisters-in-law, we miss you so much. I said I'm not eating, so I'm not eating. Why should I make do with good food when there's good food? I'll come back when I have time. It's not like I'm dead and can't see it anymore. Zhao Xinhui replied very willfully. Huo Chunhua really didn't know what to do with her daughter, so she could only let Zhao Xinhui do as she pleased. Seeing that Zhao Xinhui wanted to go back, Feng Xianxia didn't urge her to stay. Instead, she happily held the jade bracelet Zhao Xinhui gave her and walked over to Shenpanna. She said to Shenpanner, "Look, Panner girl, your aunt really gave you a bracelet. Look, it's so pretty. It's even prettier than a gold bracelet." Shenpanner saw Feng Xianxia's somewhat snobbish manner and felt a little unhappy. The corners of her mouth twitched and she agreed, "Yes, it's pretty. A jade bracelet isn't cheaper than a gold bracelet. It's a rare item." Feng Xianxia was only a woman from the countryside, so she didn't recognize such expensive things. She only knew that Zhao Xinhui's bracelet definitely wouldn't be too shabby. When Shenpanner said this, she knew that it was a treasure and her heart was filled with joy. "Panner, it's not appropriate for mother to wear such an expensive bracelet. Here, you wear this bracelet. Mother will give it to you." As she spoke, Feng Xianxia stuffed the bracelet into Shenpanner's hands. Shenpanner didn't expect Feng Xianxia to give the bracelet to her. "Mother, Panner, wear it. It looks good on you. Mother's working hands don't look good with them." Shenpanner suddenly felt a little touched. She put it on and said to Feng Xianxia, "Thank you, mother." Feng Xianxia smiled kindly. "What are you thanking me for? Your mother's daughter-in-law. It's normal for her to give you anything good. Mother only has 2 sons and no daughter. Don't I treat you like my own daughter?" Shenpanner nodded. She suddenly felt lucky that she had met such a good mother-in-law and not some evil mother-in-law. This was the good thing about marrying into a poor family. If she were to marry into a well-matched family, who knew if she would be targeted by her mother-in-law after going overboard? If her mother-in-law made things difficult for her, her life would not be easy. In the past few years, Feng Xianxia had never given her a hard time. She was very good to her, and Shenpanner remembered this in her heart. "Mother, you're the best." "You child, why are you still talking about this? Go and rest in the house. Mother is going to wash Yang Yang's pants." Shenpanner responded, "Oh, mother, go ahead." After Zhao Yun finished joining in the fun, she left the things she bought in Sun City with third son's wife. Zhao Yun thought that Liang Jinxiao didn't understand the situation, so she asked Liang Jinxiao, "Mother, I ran into Sister Ping in Sun City today. Guess what Sister Ping wanted to do?" "What did you want to do with Sister Ping?" You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.